coast. The world of sport. Join us to the world of sports features 52 weeks of the year. Major League Baseball, the Canadian and American Triple Crowns of Racing, Canadian track and field events, as well as many other sports of championship caliber. And this afternoon, the greatest show in football, featuring the stars of the National Football League in the game's most thrilling action. Today, the NFL championship game between the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers from City Stadium in Green Bay. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Hal Kelly, your host for the afternoon. In just a moment, we'll switch to Green Bay. The first half of today's World of Sports, featuring the greatest show in football, is presented for your enjoyment by the Carling Breweries Limited, brewers of Carling Black Label Beer. Now let's switch to Green Bay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lindsey Nelson with Chris Schenkel here at City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The first time that the Pro Championship has ever been played here in Green Bay. And, of course, it's a big day. The temperature is about 20 degrees. The field has been covered all week with a tarp and a layer of hay and about 14 inches of snow on top of that. It's all been peeled off, and the field's been brushed off, and it's fairly fast. There are some frozen spots, and when the team's warmed up, the Green Bay Packers were wearing cleats. The New York Giants were split about 50-50, half in cleats and half in sneakers. This is the first $1 million game in the history of professional football. More than 40,000 fans at $10 a head in the stands, $615,000 for the television fee. And to tell you about this $1 million game, here is Chris Schenkel.
Thank you, Lindsey Nelson, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Two teams, the best in football, the Packers and the Giants, who have a great deal of similarities. Offensively, the Packers are tops in the National Football League, while the Giants finished second. The attacks are somewhat similar. Green Bay relying on a running game, which opens up their passing attack, while the New York Giants have used the forward pass, thrown mostly by Y.A. Tittle to Schaffner, Rote, and Walton, and then in turn, the running game has featured Alec Webster. If you're a devotee or a fan of good line play, and especially the guards that pull and block, watch Fred Thurston, number 63 of the Green Bay Packers, and number 66, Jack Stroud, of the New York Giants, because they are the finest. Defensively, the Giants and Packers also compare favorably. Four big men up front. Coaching-wise, both Vince Lombardi and Allie Sherman were once New York Giants assistants. This is the third meeting of these two teams in 1961, and we expect a thriller, so wherever you are, I know you're going to enjoy it. Right now, back to Lindsey Nelson.
On the field, the playing of the national anthem with the Sullivan Wallen Post American Legion Color Guard and the Army Color Guard and the Green Bay Packer Band and the Lake Band Color Guard on the field, along with the Golden Girls and the Packerettes, the Star Spangled Banner, as we're getting set for the National Football League Championship game. And the lights have been turned on here at City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin at the very outset of the afternoon. It is cloudy right now. The prediction is that it will remain that way throughout the afternoon. Possible scattered snow flurries. We'll have more of the pregame activities here at Green Bay City Stadium after this message.
And right now, it's our pleasure to once again introduce our guest, Curly Morrison. He used to play in the National Football League, and Curly, you've been in a championship game. You know what it feels like, I guess.
Well, it's a great thrill for these 70 football players who we'll be watching all afternoon, Hal. I can vouch for that.
What's your analysis of today's game?
Well, Hal, I think Chris Schenkel summed it up pretty cleverly there. Both teams are similar. Of course, naturally, they're both championship ball clubs. We know that. Regardless of their characteristics, whether they're a more strong running or passing team, the outcome of the day's game will be determined by, basically, by the fundamental soundness of the winning club. My personal opinion is that Green Bay is probably one of the most fundamentally sound football teams in their techniques of any team I've seen in the National Football League. Going back to their previous games with the Giants this year, which incidentally Green Bay won both of them with a similar score, an exhibition game and a game we saw a few weeks ago, 20-17. There were 140 plays played In the last game, Green Bay had the ball 77 times and New York 63, and on the basis of that ball control, I would have to pick Green Bay.
All right, let's go back to Green Bay.
As all is in readiness, and a good many of the fans still are standing here. They are dressed warmly, of course, for this temperature, and the predominant color is red to indicate that we're in the deer hunting country. Somebody said this morning that the crowd is dressed so that it looks a great deal like a church service on the morning that the deer season opens. Right now, the lanes have been formed, and the New York Giants, the visiting team, champions of the Eastern Conference of the National Football League, will be introduced first. This stadium was first opened in 1957. It replaced the old City Stadium, a structure made primarily of wood that became one of pro football's historic landmarks for many years. The stadium normally seats 38,663, but a couple of thousand temporary seats were added for today's game to run the capacity up to something over 40,000. Tickets were priced at $10 each, no matter where they were located, behind the goalpost or on the 50-yard line. The price, $10 each, and they have turned out here this afternoon. And a little twirling color in the pregame festivities. The twirler is Mary Van Dyke from Sturgeon Bay. In recent years, no football field has received as much loving care and attention as this one has in the past few weeks. See, the Packers depend a great deal on a strong running game, and if at all possible, they wanted to prevent the likelihood of a frozen field. So a tarp was spread over the field, then a layer of hay, and then about 14 inches of snow fell on top of that. The temperature got down to 15 below zero a couple of days ago, but the covering kept the field from entirely freezing. The snow was removed in baskets and by hand in order to keep the heavy equipment from tracking the unfrozen turf. The hay was removed this morning and fed into hay balers right here in the stadium. Then the tarp was taken off, and then commercial crushers were brought on attached to sheep. The field was entirely braced and was remarked just about 1 hour ago. As is usual in any championship contest, the experts have dissected every available bonus contention in an effort to forecast the outcome. When these two teams met in Milwaukee during the regular season, the Giants were unable to stop the Packers' ground game as Jimmy Taylor gained more yardage than any Packer had ever gained in a single game. He did it primarily in the Giant defensive area, patrolled by Rosie Greer, Andy Robicelli, and linebacker Tom Scott. Well, the Giants, of course, figured to tighten up that gap. The question is, if they do, will they leave a gap open somewhere else? Perhaps the Packers will counter by going to the air. The Giants, of course, have a pretty good ground game themselves, led by Alex Webster and Joel Wells. They have a fine passing attack with Fiddle and Connolly throwing, Schaffner, Rote, and Walden catching. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what the extent of Jimmy Taylor's injury is. Against the Los Angeles Rams in the final game of the season, Taylor sustained a kidney injury, and just how serious it is something that won't be known until the ball game gets underway here this afternoon. The officials coming out onto the field right now. The referee this afternoon is George Rennick. He'll be wearing number 52. The umpire is Jim Biersdorfer, number 17. The head linesman is John Heiberger, number 48. The back judge is Frank Luzar, number 14. And the field judge is Charles Sweeney, number 22. And so they are coming out to look over the field, preparatory to the arrival of the players here. And it might be well to point out here, as we are waiting for the arrival of players, that this game is played under a sudden death rule, meaning that if the regulation playing time ends and the score is tied, then after a 3-minute rest, they will resume playing, and the first team that scores by any means, touchdown, field goal, or safety, is the winner. So we will have no tie game here this afternoon. We will have a winner before the day is done. And for each individual member of the winning team, it will mean something over $5,000. For each member of the losing team, it will mean something over $3,000. The prices have gone up since the first championship game was played in 1933, when members of the winning team got $210 each. The The men charged with handling the ball most in this cold weather are the quarterbacks, of course. Bart Starr for the Packers, Y.A. Tittle and Chuck Connolly for the Giants. Starr is from Alabama, Tittle's a native of Texas who played in Louisiana, Connolly from Mississippi. All Southern boys in the cold north this afternoon. Since the National Football League started playing championship games in 1933, the home team has lost only 8 times in 27 games. One game was played on a neutral site as the Packers. That's the Boston Redskins in New York on one occasion for the championship. These Green Bay Packers are one of only 2 remaining charter members of the National Football League. The other, the Chicago Bears. So it's a big day here in Green Bay as finally they have the championship game played right here in City Stadium. And you get a look at the crowd now and how they are dressed for the cold weather. All bundled up. The Chamber of Commerce, of course, has called the city Title Town, USA. And there are banners across the street and signs in every store window. And I can tell you that if the Green Bay Packers win this ball game this afternoon, it will be a New Year's Eve celebration in Green Bay, the likes of which you have seldom seen. Matter of fact, the local citizenry says that if they win, celebration in Pittsburgh, when the championship was won there, will look like a Sunday school pink tea. Now you're looking outside the ballpark at the parking lots, which incidentally were swept clear of snow also, as well as they could. And you can see the snow across the road there and in the neighborhood. The Green Bay Packers earlier this week worked out one afternoon when the temperature was 10 below zero. So this is something of a heat wave, as the temperature at 12 noon was up to 19 officially, and right now is up to about 20 degrees as we are awaiting the kickoff here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Teams, of course, very likely are adjusting equipment. On the bench, they will have no problem because infrared heaters have been installed in dugout-type reflectors behind the benches, and we are told that along in that area, the temperature will be around 7 degrees in the bench area. You can see them there behind the policemen. There they are, the reflectors and the infrared heaters. And so it may be some difficulty getting a man into the ball game this afternoon. It's going to be very warm and cozy over there in the bench area. Incidentally, as Green Bay prepared for this ball game, they expect traffic that they are not used to handling, and so extra policemen were brought over from Sheboygan and Manitowoc and Neenah and Oshkosh to help handle the traffic, and I should suspect also to see the ball game. Any moment now, we'll have the introduction of players as they have come into the runway. See them milling around there in the runway right now, and we'll have them coming down in just a moment as they get them organized and bring them onto the field one by one. It's the New York Giants, of course, as the visiting team in white, and the Green Bay Packers in the dark jerseys as you see them. Giants as the visitors will be introduced first. The offensive unit is being brought down there. 79 is Rosie Brown, 66 is Jack Stroud, 55 is Ray White Tucker, 53 is Greg Larson, 85 is Del Schaffner. They'll be brought out in just a moment. Handshaking taking place down there in the runway right now also. Those Giants, of course, were surprised winners in the Eastern Conference this season. None of the preseason predictors placed them any higher than third. Most everybody saw the Cleveland Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles, or even the St. Louis Cardinals as the top team in the East. But the Giants improved steadily. They came through a second-half schedule as tough as can be imagined. They met the Packers, the Eagles twice, the Browns twice coming down the stretch, and they came out with the division title. And their rookie coach, in his first year as head coach, Al Sherman, was named Coach of the Year in the National Football League. And now, the New York Giants are being introduced. At center, number 55 is Ray White Tucker, 6'1", 230 from Northwestern. The right guard, number 66 is Jack Stroud. He is 6'1", 235 pounds from Tennessee. Number 62 at left guard is Darrell Dess. He is a 245-pounder from North Carolina State. Number 53 at right tackle is Greg Larson. He's a rookie, 6'2", 240 from Minnesota. Number 79 at left tackle is Rosie Brown. He is 255 pounds from Oregon State. Number 80 at right end is Joe Walton, 205-pounder from Pittsburgh. And number 85 is the left end, Bill Schaffner, 185 pounds from Baylor. Number 44 is Kyle Rote, the right halfback, 200-pounder from SMU. Number 29 is the fullback, Alex Webster. He is a 220-pounder from North Carolina State. Number 28 is the left halfback, Joel Wells, 198 pounds from Clemson. And the quarterback is number 14, Y.A. Tuttle, 195-pounder from Louisiana State University. Those are the New York Giants. So there go the Giants. And we'll have now the introduction of the hometown Green Bay Packers. The center, number 51, is Jim Ringo, a 235-pounder from Syracuse. Number 75 is the right guard, Forrest Gregg, a 250-pounder from SMU. The left guard is All-Pro Fred Thurston, number 63 from Valparaiso, 250-pounder. The right tackle, number 78, is Norm Masters, 250 pounds from Michigan State. The left tackle, number 76, is Bob Skoronsky, 250 pounds from Indiana. Number 88 is the right end, Ron Kramer, 230-pounder from the University of Michigan. The left end is number 85, Max McGee, 205-pounder from Tulane. Flanker back is number 86, Boyd Dowler, 220-pounder from Colorado and on leave from the Army. The left half is Paul Horning, number 5, 215-pounder from Notre Dame and on leave from the Army. The fullback is Jim Taylor, number 31, 215-pounder from LSU. And the quarterback is Bart Starr, number 15, a 200-pounder from the University of Alabama. There are the Green Bay Packers, repeat champions of the Western Conference. We've had the starting lineups. We'll be set for the opening kickoff of today's game in just a moment.
They're often running at the county fair, and for every man racing, the afternoon will be packed with excitement. Sitting between those two flashing wheels is a real thrill, a thrill that makes harness racing a sport that sets the pace in pleasure. Yes, there's no question about it. If you're looking for something that sets the pace in pleasure, here it is.
And now we're getting set for the simulated coin toss at the center of the field. As you know, in the National Football League, the coin is actually tossed about 30 minutes before game time. Then the simulated toss takes place now for the information of the crowd. Coming out, Kyle Rote and Andy Robistelli for the Giants, the co-captains, and for the Green Bay Packers, Bill Forrester and Jim Ringo. George Renix is the referee. And the indication here that the New York Giants won the toss and elected to receive. The Green Bay Packers elected to defend the goal to your left, so the Packers will kick off and defend the goal to your left. The Giants will receive and defend the goal to your right. For those of you who like to keep track of such things, the Green Bay Packers lost the toss. They lost the toss last year at Philadelphia. We pause now for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
There, ladies and gentlemen, you see the Green Bay Packers today wearing dark green jerseys, gold pants, gold helmets, while the New York Giants are in white, red numerals, blue helmets, and silver football pants. It'll be number 3, Ben Agajanian, the 8-year veteran from New Mexico State that will be kicking off for the Green Bay Packers. Agajanian joining the Packers late here in 1961, taking some of the work off the shoulders of Paul Hornung, who arrived this week from Fort Riley, Kansas, to continue preparations for this big championship game. Field lights are on. The field itself in perfect condition as we have a ground view look at 35 Bobby Gators and 28 Joel Wells, who await Agajanian's kick. The minute that toe hits the football, the clock starts and the game is underway. And here's Agajanian's boot. It's going to the far side. It's fielded there by Joel Wells. He's up to the 20, now the 25, then the 30, and he's brought down there and hard. It appeared that the Giants might try to let that ball go out of bounds, and it caused a little mix-up on the part of the Packer kicking team coming upfield as Ray Nitschke, number 66 of Illinois, made the tackle for the Green Bay Packers. Here now are the New York Giants. They have a 1st and 10. The ball is just across their own 30-yard line. Y.A. Tittle, 14-year veteran, his first championship game as the quarterback. Coming to the near side, this is Del Schaffner. Kyle Roach to the opposite side. Joel Wells, number 28, carried the ball, but met with that big forward wall of Green Bay, led by Henry Jordan and Bill Quinlan. There's Wells of Clemson, former star in the Canadian League, as we look at the Green Bay Packers now, who have up front 87 Willie Davis, 83 Quinlan, the end. Tanner and Jordan are the tackles. The New York Giants now, they have a 2nd down and 9 from their own 31 as Road is to the far side. Webster and Wells the setback. The draw. Webster losing his footing, and right there with him was Tom Bettis, number 65. Alex Webster, number 3 rusher in the National Football League, is down at about the 32-yard line, where it'll now be a 3rd down and 8 for the New York Giants. No score in the ball game. The deep men for the Green Bay Packers on the left in the dark jerseys, Grimminger, Simak, Wood, and Whittenden. Y. Tittle, number 14, who often has come up with a big 3rd down play, has a 3rd and 8 from his own 32. His first pass attempt to Webster. Webster up to the 35 and is down at about the 37. Not enough. For the first down is Dan Curry, number 58 of Michigan State, was there to bring Webster down. So it will be a 4th down for New York. The Eastern Conference champion and the Green Bay Packer fans give the defensive team a round of applause. It's a 4th down and 3. Going back deep now for the Packers, Willie Wood and Luke Carpenter, number 33. Back to kick for the New York Giants on the right, Don Chandler of Florida. Has about a 44-yard average. He's kicking with the wind to his back. End over end. Carpenter blocking as Willie Wood has it at the 23, up to the 25. Wood, number 24, hit by Chuck Jenneret, number 72, and Larry Hayes of Vanderbilt. So now the Packers, before this huge crowd in Green Bay, Wisconsin, have the ball, 1st and 10, and George Rennick, the referee, has planted it on the Green Bay 26. For the Packers, Bart Starr of Alabama, the quarterback, number 15. The setbacks will be Taylor, 31, and Horning, number 5. Max McGee is flanked to the far side. Boyd Dowler is sent away to the near side with Ron Kramer, the tight end. Jim Ringo, the center, from the 26. Slight delay to Paul Horning, number 5, the leading scorer in the National Football League. He's stopped by Rosie Greer and Jim Catkavage, number 75. There's Horning, number 5, going back to the Green Bay huddle. Number 75, Forrest Gregg, as we now look at the Giant defensive team, number 1 in the National Football League, allowing the fewest points scored. The 3rd meeting, and they know about the Green Bay Packers. And now with the ball at the 28. No score in the game. It's a 2nd down and 8 for Green Bay with Dowler to the near side and McGee to the far side. Horning again. And that ground game of Green Bay is moving upfield as Tom Scott, 82, Dick Modulewski, 77, run on the play for New York. Horning, who was carrying the ball both times, has advanced it now up to about the 34. A 6-yard gain. It's 3rd down and 2. The Giants 75, Katcavage 89, Livingston 49, Erich Barnes. The outside cornerback is Dick Lynch, number 22. Here you see Star 15, Ringo 51, 31 is Jim Taylor, number 70 in white is Sam Huff with a 3rd down and 2 from their own 34, Bart Starr. And doing yeoman duty is Paul Horning of Notre Dame, and Katcavage, 75, and 70 Huff are in on the tackle. And the Packers did not make enough for the 1st down as Erich Barnes also helped stop Horning's forward progress. So with the ball at the 35, it is a 4th down and 1 for Green Bay. There you see 40, Joe Morrison going deep. And on the near side, Joe Wells, number 28. Boyd Dowler is back to punt for Green Bay. The first Green Bay punt. No score in the game. 10 minutes, 45 seconds left in the first quarter. A booming punt into the wind as Wells has it on the 10. Wow, what a punt as Elijah Pitstop, number 28, the receiver, Joe Wells as a marker is down. George Rennick, number 52. That's Dick Lynch, number 22. And let's see what the penalty will be. Looks like perhaps a procedure penalty against the Green Bay Packers as Rennick now comes back to the line of scrimmage, which was the 35. He's in the vicinity now of the 30. And here he is with a procedure signal against Green Bay and, of course, accepted by the New York Giants. So it will be a 4th down coming up, 4th down and 6 from about the 30-yard line. Dowler's punt was a honey. It came all the way from his own 26 to the Giants' 10. There's Dowler on the left, kicking into about a 12-mile-per-hour wind coming out of the southwest. Now again, he gets off a good one. This one about 15 yards shorter at the 24. Morrison has it and is down at the 30. And again, it's Elijah Pitts, that speedster, the rookie, number 22, in the dark jersey that was in on the tackle. So the New York Giants get the ball for the 2nd time here in the first quarter with about 10 minutes to go and no score. And they have a 1st and 10 just across the 30-yard line, and that's where they tried to start a drive the first time they had the ball. Schaffner, number 85, coming to the near side. The top of your screen, 44, Kyle Roach. The setbacks are Wells and Webster. From the 30, White Hiddle. Joe Wells on a fine balanced run up the middle. Advances to about the 39. Wells has come along late in the 61 season. He was stopped on his forward progress by Tom Bettis, the middle linebacker for the Packers. The ball is at 39. It is a 2nd down and 1 as Wells picked up 9 yards on the play. Rote and Joe Walton are to the far side. Schaffner to the near side. That's Wells up close to the line, the halfback. As the fullback carries, going for the 1st down, let's see if he made it. The Packers ball hawking, trying to steal the ball. As Ray Witeka was blocking on the play, George Rennick now called for an official time for a measurement. So the head linesman, John Heiberger, and his crew will come in from the far side of the field to measure. The ball is across the 40, as you see, between the 40 and 41. No score, 9 minutes left in the first quarter. 1st down, New York. The initial 1st down of the ball game. Up front for the Giants, from top to bottom across the field, Greg Larson, Jack Stroud, Ray Witeka, Gerald S. and Roosevelt Brown, Schaffner and Walton the ends, Roach the flanker back, Webster and Wells the setbacks, with Tittle at quarterback. Packers on the left, dark jerseys, Davis, Hanner, Jordan, and Quinlan up front. Roach goes to the far side. 1st and 10 for the Giants. Let's call it from their own 41. The fake to Webster, who blocks, and the pass is a square-out pattern to Kyle Roach, who couldn't hang on to the ball. Dan Curry covering for Green Bay. There's Kyle. He's wearing a sweatshirt under his jersey, sort of blue in color to keep those arms warm, and he couldn't hang on to that pass, so it's an incompletion, 2nd down and 10. The ball near the 41. No score. 8 minutes, 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Some of the linemen wearing gloves keep those hands warm out on the field. Others not. The ends, of course, are bare hands out there. 2nd and 10. Schaffner to the near side. Joel Wells of Clemson carrying on the play. 74, Henry Jordan. Coming in, number 74. On Wells, 28 as a marker is down, and you may have seen the infraction right on your television screen at home. It is an offside against the Green Bay Packers. So that advances the ball to the 46. So now it'll be a 2nd down and 5 for the New York Giants. No scores. Root goes to the far side. Schaffner up in the line, split away to the near side. Walton is the tight end. 2nd and 5 from their own 46. A loose ball. Webster recovered, it appeared, his own fumble. 79 in white, Roosevelt Brown. 83 Quinlan. 71 Forrester, who was there alertly on the play. And the fumble allows the Giants to pick up 2 yards up to the 48. It'll be a 3rd down and 3 for New York. Both teams thus far playing cautious, steady football, sticking mostly to the ground. Diddle has attempted one forward pass. Rote now to the far side. Diddle of LSU, number 14. 3rd and 3 from his own 48. There's the pass. Rote has it. Rote is in Green Bay territory as Henry Greminger, number 46 of Baylor, made the tackle, and the Giants have their 2nd first down of the ball game. With 7 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first quarter, there is no score here at City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ball has been spotted by the referee about the Green Bay 46 1/2. Giants started this drive at their own 30. Schaffner now coming to the near side. Rote to the opposite side once more. And Tittle wants some aerial yardage. Out here is Schaffner, who lost his footing, and the pass was underthrown. Whittington and Wood cover number 85, Del Schaffner. One of the trades that Wellington Mayer of the New York Giants made this year that has helped New York to the Eastern Conference crown, the number 3 pass catcher in the league, who caught 68 going into this ball game, including 11 touchdowns. So it'll be now a 2nd down and 10 for New York from the Green Bay 46. No score. Rote and Walton to the far side. Again, Schaffner, the usual pattern to the near side, split away about 10 yards. Wells up close on the setback as Webster carries. There you saw the hard charge of the defensive team of Green Bay, leveling the Giants' would-be blockers, Waiteka and Schaffner. Jordan and Bettis credited for stopping no gain by the Giants. So it'll be a 3rd down and 10 coming up in thus far a great defensive battle. 71 Forrester, the outside linebacker. 83 Quinlan. 74 Jordan. 79 Hanner. 87 Davis, and 58 is Dan Curry. Here are the Giants, 3rd and 10 from the Green Bay 46. There's a long pass. Kyle Rote is there, looking back into the sun, which is a little on the hazy side today. Kyle had run a beautiful pass pattern and couldn't hold on to the ball. Rote, the All-American from SMU and co-captain of the New York Giants, and for New York now, it is a 4th down and 10, and Don Chandler has come into the ball game for New York as Willie Wood and Lou Carpenter go back in twin safety. Chandler has been known to not kick the ball and run with it. The line of scrimmage is the Green Bay 46-yard line. Chandler is back at about his own 43 to kick. It's high. Lou Carpenter watches the ball going into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. It'll come out to the Green Bay 20-yard line.
Keep an eye on that offense and see again if we can determine what the extent of Jim Taylor's injury is. It was interesting in the first series they ran Hornung 3 times and didn't use Taylor even on the 3rd and 2. So now the Packers have it once again, and let's see what they choose to do this time.
Okay, Lindsey Nelson. Here are the Packers on the left in the dark jersey. Bart Starr, Taylor, and Horning the setbacks. Dowler, McGee, and Kramer potential receivers. As we look at Starr, number 15, from his own 20-yard line. No score in the game. And again, it is Paul Horning that carries the ball. Dick Modulewski, number 77, and Greer in on the play for New York. And Horning just turns out the yardage as he has advanced the ball up to his own 24. A 4-yard gain at second down and 6. Up front for the Packers. From top to bottom, Delancey and Thurston. Jim Ringo at center. Forrest Gregg and Norm Masters, the guard and tackle on the near side, with Ron Kramer, the tight end, McGee, the split end, and Dowler, the flanker back. McGee to the far side, Dowler to the near side. The tight end, Kramer, number 88, on a second down and 6 from their own 24. Nice faking by Starr. A deep pass centered by McGee. Dick Lynch, number 22 of Notre Dame, was covering on the play, and again, it could have been that sunshine that's coming in from right to left, as McGee was halfway looking into it and awaiting Bart Starr's long pass. McGee, the Packers' number 1 pass receiver this year, catching 51 and scoring 7 touchdowns. So Starr now is faced with a 3rd down and 6 from his own 24. Lynch, who covered on the play, is the most recent bridegroom, having been married Thursday night in Pennsylvania. Huff looking on, number 70. 36 for Starr, number 15. To Paul Horning. And Green Bay has its initial first down of the ball game, and you can see why Paul Horning was named Player of the Year just about everywhere. There's timeout on the field with the score. Green Bay nothing and New York nothing.
Yeah. Well, Curly, first off, they haven't been using Jim Taylor on the Green Bay half line. What do you think?
Well, it's pretty hard, Hal, to determine right now how serious that injury is. However, I think the fact that he's in there means that he can play some football, or they wouldn't take a chance with him. And I think after he gets warmed up a little bit, loosened up, we'll see Jim Taylor carrying the football.
And the big play of the game, the first one, was to the Green Bay.
We just saw it. We just saw the first really big play. And now it takes a little while. These fellows have to establish themselves and feel each other out a little bit, because this is the last game of the season, and they don't want to make that big mistake. So we'll see them begin to open up gradually.
Looks, too, like it's a little hard to hold on to that ball when the passes.
Well, it's true because of the extremely cold temperature. The fingers are a little stiff, but the biggest thing, I think, the factor here is the sun. You see, with so much snow as a reflection around there, and it's probably a blue sky day in Green Bay. We'll have to wait till that sun settles down. If you're looking into it, it's a hard glare, and it's hard to keep your eyes on it.
All right, let's go back to Green Bay.
World Championship of Football in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Chris Schenkel and Lindsey Nelson, as we're in the first period, 4 minutes and 47 seconds left. Paul Horning and Bart Starr combining on a 26-yard pass play, picking up the Packers' initial first down. Green Bay is at midfield with the first down, and Starr sends McGee to the far side. McGee is actually in the backfield as Dowler comes up on the line, split to the near side. Taylor 31, but the give is to Horning. And Horning, the workhorse, is tackled by Roosevelt Greer on the play. Paul Horning, everybody's All-America and Heisman Trophy winner at Notre Dame, was everybody's choice for Player of the Year in the National Football League, having led the NFL in scoring for the 3rd straight year, 146 points. Now, with his fine pass catching and running, he's advanced the Packers to the New York Giants' 45-yard line with a 2nd and 5. There's Starr. Dowler to the near side. And Taylor carries. Cliff Livingston, number 89, in on the tackle, as Jim Taylor, who is being used sparingly here in the first quarter, has advanced to the Giant 41. And for Green Bay, it's a 3rd down and 1 coming up. 3rd and 1, as the Packers have reached the deepest penetration at the Giant 41 and a half. There you see Ron Kramer, number 88, who plays the tight blocking end, as the Giant defensive unit, basically a 4-3 defense. Dollar to the near side, McGee to the opposite side. The ends are in close. On a 3rd down and 1, who will carry? And Jim Taylor does the job for the Packers, and it's the 1st down is Erich Barnes. Next to the stop. Taylor on the key pass play that helped get the Packers to midfield was used as a decoy, was not blocking for the passer Bart Starr. So Green Bay now with a 1st and 10 at the New York Giants 37. No score. Little less than 3 minutes remaining in the 1st quarter. Star of Alabama. Powerful running attack of Green Bay has put the Packers inside the Giants 35 at about the 32. Huff and Greer tackling Jim Taylor on the play. They have moved down now to the Giants 32. It is 2nd down and 5. As the sun really comes from behind those hazy clouds here in Wisconsin, 20-degree temperatures. Now it's Kramer and McGee to the far side, and Dollar is all alone to the near side. At the Giants 32, Bart Starr has a 2nd down and 5. Ladies and gentlemen, that blocking up front by Thurston and Skoransky is a thing to behold. And they are riddling the Giants defensive unit with the running attack cross-bucking now to the Giants 25. And, of course, it's enough for the 1st down. Paul Hornung starring here in the 1st quarter with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go in the quarter. No score. Bart Starr keeps both in close to the tackle. It's Dowler, flanks to the near side. 1st and 10 from the Giants 25. Jim Taylor. There, the blocking was done by Norm Masters, number 78, and Ron Kramer, number 88, as Huff makes the tackle on 31. Taylor picks up 5 yards on the play to the Giant 20, where it is now 2nd down and 5 for Green Bay, starting this march on their own 20. Sticking to the ground, except on a 26-yard pass play to Hornung, which brought them to midfield. As we look at Huff, 70, 77, Dick Modulewski of Maryland. There's Big Roosevelt Greer, number 76. We have 50 seconds left in the 1st quarter now. No score. Green Bay with a 2nd down and 5 at the Giant 20. Two men going deep. Parker is down. Interference. Automatic 1st down on pass-catching interference. Boyd Dowler, the intended receiver, and Erich Barnes was a little aggressive in trying to knock down the pass. And with 35 seconds remaining in the 1st quarter here at Green Bay, it is a 1st and goal to go for Green Bay at the New York Giants 7-yard line. No score. All right, Bart Starr now asks for silence for this partisan crowd as the ends are in close. Down to the near side. Hornung and Taylor step back. That is Jim Taylor of LSU. And it has averaged over 5 yards to carry this year with Lynch, 22. In on the play for New York, along with number 70, Sam Huff and Scott, 82. There was very little advance on the play, so it'll be 2nd down and goal in the vicinity of the Giants 7-yard line, and we have less than 10 seconds remaining in the 1st quarter. Green Bay Packers moving into the wind now. 1st quarter just about over. The gun has sounded. That's the end of the 1st quarter. And the score is Green Bay 0 and New York 0.
Yes, sirree. As you like it, so do we. The happiest sound of friends agree is Mabel. Just a about everybody far and near. Takes a friendly call you hear. The most refreshing note of cheer is Mabel. How the good word gets around. Now most everyone has found it's the most inviting sound of all. Mabel, as you like it, yes, sirree. The best of all good friends agree as they whistle cheerfully. Mabel, Carlene, Black Label Beer.
You're looking at a stadium built for football only. In the cradle city of the National Football League, Green Bay, as the Green Bay Packers on the right, now moving from right to left as we await the start of the second quarter. No score in the ball game. The Packers have a second down and goal to go from the New York Giants 7. This drive starting on the 20, using up 11 plays to get to this point. Primarily a running game, which we all expected, and the Packers have the best as we look at 5 Hornung, 21 Taylor. Dollar and McGee are set apart on a second and goal from the 7. Cross-tracking Paul Hornung. In one of the prettiest power marches, featuring a sound running game, the Green Bay Packers have just gone 80 yards in 12 plays to take the lead 6-0. And Hornung now will try for the point after with Bart Starr holding. And you saw that it was good. So it's a 7-0 ball game with 14 minutes and 56 seconds left in the first half here at City Stadium in Green Bay.
Well, Chris, when these two teams met in Milwaukee earlier this year during the regular season, and the Green Bay Packers won by a score of 20-17, it was their ground game primarily that moved them in there, and the New York Giant defense had been determined to stop that ground game this afternoon. They didn't stop it in that particular effort because the Packers took over after the touchback on their own 20, and as you said, they drove 80 yards with Paul Hornung taking it in from the 7 on the first play of the second quarter as they go out in front. Just to keep the record straight, both teams started today entirely wearing pleated shoes, no sneakers on the field at the start of today's ball game. The sun came out just at kickoff time, breaking through the clouds. Temperature 20 degrees at kickoff here at Green Bay, Wisconsin. So right now, we're going to have the Packers kicking off and the Giants receiving to see if they can move the ball. And once again, here's Chris Schenkel.
Okay, Lindsey Nelson, Ben Agajanian, number 3. That is Dan Curry alongside. Agajanian waiting now for the official to tell him that tee up the ball on his own 40-yard line, back deep for the New York Giants. We have Joel Wells and Bobby Gator. They are the deep men, as Ben Agajanian has the wind to his back, and the Packers have a 7-0 lead with only 4 seconds having elapsed in the second quarter. Here's the kick. It's short. It's Wells at the 17, up to the 20, flipping at the 25-yard line. Elijah Pitts, number 22, was scrambling back, thinking the ball might have been loose. As Nelson Duran was in on the play for the Packers. So the New York Giants now have the ball for the 3rd time in the ball game. 1st and 10 from their, let's call it the 25, it's just across the 25, as Wells and Webster, 28 and 29 of the setback. Schaffner to the far side. Rote to the near side. Tittle is the quarterback. A fake to Webster and a pass to Rote. A pinpoint accuracy on that play was not there, as Bill Forrester rushed Tittle and Henry Grimminger covered the potential receiver Kyle Rote. So it'll be a 2nd down and 10 for the Giants from their own 25. They were able to sustain one attack, moving from their own 30 to the Green Bay 46, and then were forced to punt. Tough Packers as the draw play goes to Alec Webster, who is across the 30-yard line. Dave Hanner, 79 in on the play, along with the deep man from Southern California, Willie Wood. Alec Webster, the 29, number 3 rusher in the NFL, comes back to the huddle. It's Y. Tittle now. All signals. The Giants have advanced the ball to the 30, and it's a third down and 5 with Green Bay leading 7-0. 13 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first half. 6-6 for Green Bay is Nitschke in at linebacker now. As Fiddle goes back to throw. It is deflected and intercepted. And you see number 66, and to show you how big and fast the linebackers are in the National Football League, you will recall he was right up head on the offensive center, but when the pass was thrown and deflected, he was back 15 yards to intercept. There's a big break now for the Green Bay Packers as Henry Jordan tips that forward pass thrown by Kittle. And now for the Packers, they have the ball on the New York Giants 34 with a 1st and 10 after that interception by Ray Nitschke, one of the 3 Army men playing out here today. Bart Starr and Horning on the option. Look out. Max McGee is out there. He was covered on the play by Dick Lynch, number 22. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10 as Max McGee, number 85, comes back to the Green Bay Packer huddle. He's from Tulane University, captain of the South team of the '56 Senior Bowl. Now lives in Fort Worth, Texas, from Saxon City, Nevada. 2nd down and 10 now. Green Bay with a 7-0 lead and 13 minutes left in the first half. Have the ball at the New York Giants 34 with Dowler flanked to the far side. There you see Ringo, 51. Here is Starr throwing long. McGee again. McGee had gotten free from the man that covered him, Jim Patton of Mississippi. But the pass was a little long, and it'll be a 3rd down and 10 as Bart Starr has been mixing up his plays, driving 80 yards in 12 plays to score, and now has come back after an interception by Ray Nitschke of a tittle pass, going to the air, trying to get there for 6 more. The Giants, 81, Andy Robicelli, 82, Tom Scott of Virginia, 76 is Greer, 70 Huff, 77 Modulewski, 75 Katkavich, 89 Cliff Livingston. Off to the far side now is Dowler, 3rd and 10 for the Packers from the Giants 34, McGee to the near side. Bart Starr, a quick pass, look in to Ron Kramer. And it took 3 Giants, Patton, Huff, and Morrison to bring Kramer down, the big man from Michigan, 6'3", 230 pounds, number 88 in the dark jersey. There he is back in the huddle. Dowler, 86. And the Packers now are inside the Giant 20. Let's call it the Giant 18 after that 16-yard play, and it's a 1st down for Green Bay. Their 5th first down of the ball game as Starr calls signals. 12 minutes left in the first half. Green Bay 7, New York nothing. Jim Taylor. And they battle for that ball. Taylor and Jim Katkavich mixing it up a little bit. Modulewski at the bottom of that pileup, the left tackle for the New York Giants. And the carry advances the ball 1 yard to the Giants 17, where it'll now be 2nd down and 9 for Green Bay. Starr of Montgomery, Alabama, 6'1", 200 pounds. From our end zone camera, this is Starr 15. There is Huff, number 70. Head on. Jim Ringo, the offensive center, on a 2nd and 9 from the Giants 17. Jim Taylor getting inside the New York 15 with Greer, Scott, and Robicelli making the play for New York. Taylor corseted up today to protect that back on the right side. Has just brought the Packers inside the Giants 15. Let's call it the 13 for a 4-yard gain. It is 3rd down and 5 with 11 minutes remaining in the first half. The Packers lead 7-0. Horning scoring on a 7-yard slant. Dowler, 86 to the far side. McGee to the near side. Kramer is put away. 3rd and 5, a pass play, and it's touchdown, Green Bay. Starr spreading the needle to Boyd Dowler of Colorado, number 86. And the Packers have taken a 13-0 lead with a little less than 11 minutes remaining in the first half, and Horning can make it 14 with Starr holding. The kick is up. Good. There's time on the field with the score. Green Bay 14 and New York nothing.
Formula Junior, newest and one of the most exciting forms of automobile racing. Flashing around a track at breathtaking speed in one of these specially built single-seaters is a thrill a minute. A thrill that takes skill, experience, nerve. Why does a man go for a sport like this? Only one reason. Because it sets the pace in pleasure. There's no question about it. If you're looking for something that sets the pace in pleasure, here it is.
Smiling, red cap ale.
Green Bay Packers, Ben Agajanian, out to the New York Giants, their 1956 championship win over the Chicago Bears, will now kick off for the Packers, who have a 14-0 lead with 10 minutes and 41 seconds left in the first half. Deep, Wells, and Gators. Watch those Packers move now. Down covering that kick as it's Wells at the 10, moving to the 15, now the 20, then the 25, up to the 30. A good return up to about the 33-yard line as Nitsky, 66, and Lou Carpenter in on the play.
Chris, we might mention right here that the Green Bay Packers can thank the United States Army for their cooperation in that last touchdown, because the interception was made by Nitschke, the touchdown was scored by Dowler, both on leave from Fort Lewis, Washington.
And Lindsey Nelson, their first touchdown, scored by Paul Horning on leave from Fort Riley, Kansas. Here are the New York Giants now with Tittle at the controls, first and 10 from their own 33. The Giants trailing by 14 points as Tittle is being rushed by Davis. Throws. Joe Wells, the intended receiver, but Willie Davis has gotten into the Giant secondary and had really lowered the boom on Tittle. As we look at Stroud, 66, Larson, 53, 80 Walton, 28 Wells, 55 Ray Wyteka, and 79 Roosevelt Brown. So, the Giants, who have been unable to get things going beyond the Green Bay 46, now have a second down and 10 at about their own 33. Green Bay 14, New York nothing. 10 minutes left in the first half. This is Tittle now. Out is Schaffner. The pass was intended for Joe Walton coming down the middle. Incomplete. Y.A. Tittle, who helped immensely in the Giants' drive to the Eastern Conference crown, unofficially now, has tried 9 passes, completing only 2, which is far below his 57% completion average in the 61 season. 14-0, Green Bay leading. Willie Davis, there you see Nitsky, 66, as the New York Giants now have the ball. Second down and 10 from their own 33. Tittle is back, throwing to Kyle Rowe. It's intercepted by Grimminger. Henry Grimminger intercepts for the Green Bay Packers. And in less than 2 minutes, the Packers have intercepted the Giants twice. A pass intended for Kyle Rowe, and Grimminger, 46, comes to the sideline. The Packers scored the last time they intercept, going 34 yards in 6 plays. Started Dowler. They lead 14-0. With 9.5 minutes remaining in the first half, here are the Packers first and 10 at about the New York Giants, 36. Dowler to the far side. And those wonderful moves of Jimmy Taylor at the last moment when making contact with a would-be tackler, just spins away and gets more yardage. Lynch and Scott made the tackle. Taylor goes to the New York Giants 32 for a 4-yard gain. Second down and 6. 9 minutes left in the first half. Green Bay 14, New York nothing. The tackles, Masters and Skorensky, 78 and 76. As we have Dowler to the far side, McGee to the near side now. The ball at the Giants, 32. And Horning is inside the Giants 30, and Sam Huff makes the tackle along with Roosevelt Greer. Harding moving the Packers to the Giants 27, so it'll be third down and 1 yard. Third and 1. Their last drive on a 3rd and 10 play, it was Starr that made 60 yards on a pass play to get them deeper and eventually the touchdown as Dowler goes to the far side, 3rd and 1 from the Giants 27. And Taylor drives for the first down on the ground. Let's see if he made it. Huff and Morrison in on the play. Horace Gregg, number 75 of SMU, blocking on that play. Let's see where George Rennick has spotted the ball as again John Heiberger comes in to measure. Ball is just shy of the 25-yard line, and here's the measurement, and Green Bay has the first down. Green Bay mixing up their attack, going more to the pass than usual, but still sticking with the basic, determined ground game, have a 14-0 lead over the New York Giants with 7 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the first half. Horning and Taylor have been the setbacks all the way here in the first half. Dowler the flanker back, Kramer and McGee the end. Jim Ringo, Syracuse the offensive center. First and 10 now, Green Bay from the Giants 25. The pitch to Taylor. And Fred Thurston blocking beautifully again for Taylor. And Masters in on the play, blocking too. As Taylor now is at about the New York Giants 21 as Lynch forced him out. It'll be a second down and 6 for the Green Bay Packers. We talked about Fred Thurston as an all-pro selection, received more votes than any offensive man in the National Football League. He's from Valparaiso. 6'1", 255, and plays the near side guard position. Second and 6 now for Green Bay from about the New York Giants 21. The delay to Horning. And you can see just how tough it is to bring him down. This was Forrest Gregg who blocked on that running play. And Horning is down near the Giants' 16-yard line. Modulewski and Huff. Vince Lombardi, the head coach in his 3rd year at Green Bay, was greatly worried that Horning, number 5, would not have his usual timing for today's championship game. So he certainly will always have that determination that has made him the All-American and All-Pro that he is. Paul Horning, who scored the first touchdown, climaxing an 80-yard drive, is at the halfback spot on the right side now as the Green Bay Packers have a 3rd down and 2 at the New York Giants 17. This is Horning again. And Horning is to the 15 and maybe enough for the first down. 82 Scott, Morrison 40. Blocking on that play, the left guard, Thurston. First down, Green Bay. Packers getting their 7th first down. The Giants unofficially have only 2 thus far in the first half with 6 minutes to go. And Green Bay leads 14-0. Now, with a 1st and 10 from the New York Giants 15. Starting the drive at the Giants 36 after an interception by Henry Greminger. Bart Starr, number 15, sends $86 to the far side, and McGee as the flanker back to the near side with Horning up close. It is Taylor that carries. Robicelli and Scott, the linebacker and defensive end on the near side for the Giants, and Greer, the right tackle. in on the play. But Taylor is to the 14-yard line, a pickup of 1. It'll be second down and 9. 5 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first half. Packers scoring. Horning driving 7 yards. With his point after, the Packers have came back after a Nitschke interception to go 34 yards in 6 plays. Starr to Dowler, 13 yards, and now the Packers with a second down and 9 are at the Giants' 14. There's a pass to Ron Kramer. Ron Kramer of Michigan climaxing a 36-yard mark after an interception, and the Packers are resourceful and alert spot, taking advantage of 2 interceptions to score touchdown. Horning's point after is good. Timeout on the field with the score, Green Bay 21 and New York nothing.
Well, Curly, when the Green Bay Packers scored that third touchdown, somebody in here in the studio said maybe instead of trying to finish it, the Giants should negotiate a truce.
No, it's not over with yet. The Packers have gotten the jump, but it'll still be a good ball game before we're finished.
The Packers have had the ball all afternoon.
Well, I think that's the key. As I mentioned before at the outset of today's game, ball control is the most important thing in a game like this, and I sort of figured that Green Bay would be able to do it, and I think they proved it the second march that they made, climaxing the score at the beginning of the second quarter where they went 80 yards in 12 plays, Hal, and that's been the story to date. They've been able to keep the ball.
Of course, those couple of interceptions didn't hurt either.
That's right.
All right, let's go back and have another look at it. City Stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I'm going to go.
The first half of today's World of Sports, featuring the greatest show in football, is presented for your enjoyment by the Carling Breweries Limited, brewers of Carling Black Label Beer.
The World Championship of Football in Green Bay as the Packers have a 21-0 lead over the New York Giants with about 5 minutes to go in the first half. Agajanian will kick to either Wells or Gators of New York. It's low and to the near side with Wells at the 15, the 20, the 25, take it the 30, the 35, and down at about the 39-yard line on a nifty return as Nitschke, 66, was in on the tackle for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers proving that against the great teams in the NFL, you cannot commit errors or make mistakes because the Packers have gone ahead after intercepting 2 passes to score 2 touchdowns. And now, at quarterback, it's the 14-year veteran from Mississippi, Charlie Connerly, for New York, with a 1st and 10 at about his own 39-yard line. Connerly back to throw, being pressured. The pass is deflected. Dave Henner, number 79, was the man that was in on Connerly, and that is the second time that a Giant quarterback forward has been deflected by a big lineman. There's Connerly, who came into this ball game having thrown a total of 173 touchdown passes in his career, who now has a second down and 10 with the ball at his own 39. 21-0. The Green Bay Packers, favorites in the ball game, leading by 4 minutes and 22 seconds to go. The score 21-0 is Connerly on the draw to Webster. Blocking Ray Wyteka, number 55 and 79 in white. Roosevelt Brown and Quinlan, 83. And Willie Wood in on the tackle for the Green Bay Packers.
High-top sneakers. He's the only man on the field now wearing sneakers. High white sneakers, and he's easy to pick out by his foot gear down there.
Lindsey Nelson, he was the man that wore those sneakers in the title game in 1956 on an icy field against the Chicago Bears. Connerly, who in 3 games this year came off the bench to spark the Giants, now has a 3rd down and about 3 from the 45-yard line. 3rd and 3. The blocking is good. The pass is long to Walton. Walton is out there, but there was a clear interception by Willie Wood, number 24. Let's see if a marker was down on the play at the line of scrimmage. Joe Walton, who this year has not been used as a long receiver, has a penalty now, offside, against the Green Bay Packers, and so the Giants need it. They got a first down by penalty with the ball now at midfield. Phil King is now in the New York Giant lineup as Alex Webster limps to the far sideline. King of Vanderbilt in his 4th year. Number 24 in the backfield with King will be number 28, Joel Wells, who started the ball game. Schaffner to the far side. Rote is somewhat of a tight end, 44. You see him there on the near side. Nice faking by Connerly. A swing pass to Joel Wells, incomplete. The Packer defensive unit, you see Forrester 71 and Wells 28, really pressuring the offensive linemen and the quarterback and keeping them off balance, playing havoc with the timing that they need, sort of being the spear point of any offensive attack. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first half, and if you just joined us, you might be amazed that the Green Bay Packers have a 21-0 lead over the New York Giants. Big halftime show, including some twisting in the cold in Wisconsin. Now it's Walton comes to the far side, and Rote is a slot back as Connerly wants to throw. Out there is Kyle Rote. Kyle has the ball, and the Giants have a first down at the Green Bay Packers 15. John Simak covering on the play as Kyle Rote makes a fine catch from Charlie Connerly, and the Giants have their deepest penetration at the Green Bay 15. Their offensive formation that time was different than anything they'd used this year, with Rote as a slot back, Walton a near side split end. There's timeout on the field with the score Green Bay 21 and New York nothing.
Here's a pace-setting sport for pace-setting men. A special kind of racing in a boat that's built to take it. Streaking across the water, then suddenly hurtling through the air, makes this kind of speedboat racing a sport that sets the pace in pleasure. Yes, there's no doubt about it. If you're looking for something that sets the pace in pleasure, here it is.
Carling, Red Cap Ale.
The 29th National Football League World Championship game in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the first half. Green Bay 21, New York nothing. The Giants on a 35-yard pass play now have a first and 10 on the Green Bay 15. Wells and King of the setback. Rote is again in the slot. The give is to King. King powers inside the Green Bay 10 as Nipsey 66, Quinlan 83. Quinlan of Michigan State. And on the tackle is Roosevelt Brown, blocked beautifully for number 24 in white, Phil King, former captain of Vanderbilt. Giants now have advanced the ball to the Green Bay 8. 7-yard gain. It's second down and 3 for New York. 2 minutes, 15 seconds with the clock running to go in the first half as Webster, 29, is back in as fullback, replacing King. Schaffner to the far side. Doughton, Walton are tight. Webster hit high by Nipsey, number 66 of Illinois, and 58, Dan Curry. Webster gets to the 6th. It'll be a third down coming up. Third down and maybe a little less than 2 yards, about a yard and a half. There you see the Packers, 87 Davis. Up front for the Packers, Quinlan, Jordan, Hanner, Davis. Linebackers, Forrester, Nipsey, and Curry. Scremmingers, Simak, Wood, and Whittington. have been powerfully effective here in the first half, shutting out thus far the New York Giants with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Green Bay scoring 3 touchdowns, one by Hornung, one by Dowler, and one by Ron Kramer. The Giants now have a third down, a little more than a yard, from the Green Bay 6-yard line. Wells and Webster the setbacks. Rote is a flanker back to the near side. And they did not get yardage on the play. So it'll be a fourth down coming up. Joel Wells hit by Davis, 87, 83 Quinlan, and 58 Curry. The Green Bay Packers, who won the Western Conference after 12 games of a 14-game schedule, are right at their peak. No gain on the play. It is fourth down as Bobby Gator, number 35, is in at halfback. He is the rookie from New Mexico State. He is the boy that runs fast. He can also throw the option pass. Goes to the near side on a fourth down and one. The Giants going for it. They give us to Gator. Gator may want to throw to Kyle Rote. Kyle Rote was wide open, but the pass was high. Bobby Gator, who threw only 3 passes this year, completing 3 for 2 touchdowns, is incomplete, and the Green Bay Packers take over on down. First and 10. About a minute and 15 seconds remaining as the ball comes out to the Green Bay 20. We have Hornung in the backfield. And now number 25 is in, Tom Moore replacing Jim Taylor, and Moore is somewhat of a slot back as Hornung carries. The blocking is tremendous, and Hornung runs to his own 37. Jim Patton makes the tackle for New York, number 20, along with Barnes, 49. There is Hornung, and he has just picked up more running yardage as the Giant is injured on the play here in Green Bay. 1 minute to go here in the first half, with Green Bay holding a 21-0 margin over the New York Giants. For Green Bay, after that advance, which has carried them up to about their own 37, a 17-yard advance, they will, when play is resumed, have another first and 10 as Patton was taken up on the play. Bart Starr calling a tremendously effective game, as used running primarily, has tried only 8 passes, completing 4, 2 for touchdowns, and delighting this capacity crowd that you see, the Packer fans, Packer backers, while the New York Giants, going to the air 15 times unofficially, have completed only 3 passes and picking up 3 first downs compared to the Packers' 8. 21-0. As you see, the field has gotten the greatest care, general care of any field, I'm sure, in football in America, and just being perfect for the World Championship of Football. I mentioned earlier that the field lights had been turned on, which is a league rule, just as our ruling is that should the game be tied at the end of regulation play, there'll be a sudden death. But Doubtful will need those lights because it's primarily clear sky, the sun peeking from behind some of the fleecy white clouds here, as the Packer fans dressed very warmly. The parking lots cleared of lots and lots of snow, as the city officials in this Bay City must be congratulated for the great work they have done. Patton now is helped off the field by Johnny Johnston and Johnny Ziegel, along with Sid Moret, the trainers of the New York Giants, and he will be replaced in the secondary by Alan Webb, a rookie from Arnold College. Patton, a man that polled more votes for All-Pro selection than any defensive man in the NFL, is on the sideline. Here the Packers first and 10 from their own 37. Bart Starr, the quarterback. And Hornung again. Practically unanimous getting the calls out here today. Tom Scott making the tackle, but not before Hornung had crossed his own 40-yard line and advanced to the 44 for a 7-yard gain. It is second down and 3. In the first meeting between, or the second meeting between these two clubs in 1961 in Milwaukee, it was Jim Taylor who turned out 186 yards, helped immensely by the blocking of Paul Hornung. Now today, with Taylor hampered by a back injury, a kidney injury, it is Paul Hornung that is carrying the brunt of the battle for the Green Bay Packers, who last year won the Western Conference crown and then were defeated by the Philadelphia Eagles for the world title. With the ball now on the 44, the Green Bay Packers in the dark jerseys have a second down and 3. 50 seconds unofficially left in the first half of play. Dowler to the far side, McGee to the near side. Starr on the long count. Gives to Tom Moore, number 25 of Vanderbilt. And Moore was held up high by number 75, Jim Katcavage of Dayton in his 6th year, along with Dick Modulewski as we look at Huff 70 in white. And Tom Moore gets the necessary yardage for a Green Bay Packer first down. So for Green Bay, with 27 seconds left in the first half, they have a first down at their own 47. And they have a 21-0 lead. Ken Iman of Southeast Missouri in St. Louis comes into the ballgame. Now he is waved off the field, coming to the near sideline. There you see Iman, two-year man. The Packer offensive team up front have the great blockers, the great size. It includes Norm Masters at 250. There you see Moore, 25, Starr, 15. Little taping going on the left hand of Moore. Moore is a definite threat, and much to the worry of the opposing coaches throughout the year, was the Packer #1 draft choice in 1960, and as a rookie led the National Football League in kickoff returns. You know he has speed. He hails from Madison, Tennessee, and he is trying to fill the big shoes of Jim Taylor, who's on the sideline right now. It is Moore and Hornung the setback. The Packers with a first and 10 from their own 47, about 20 seconds remaining in the first half. Starr getting plenty of time to complete the run. Kramer. A powerful run. And look at him line up quickly now with the ball on the New York Giants. 15-yard line. Starr throws out in the flat. Let's see what George Rennick, the referee now, talking to Andy Robustelli as the Packers send in what appears to be their kicking team with only 2 seconds on the clock unofficially, but a marker is down on the field, and Rennick, number 52, is stepping off yardage against New York. Offside on that quick count play, and Paul Hornung now can up the count by 3 points as he will try a field goal from 17 yards away, and on the clock it says only 2 seconds left in the first half. Bart Starr will hold. An angle from the far side to the near side. Here's the kick. It is up. See co-captain Andy Robustelli of the New York Giants talking with the referee George Rennick. The gun has sounded here at Green Bay City Stadium. That's the end of the first half with the score Green Bay 24 and New York nothing.
As you like it, so do we. The happiest sound good friends agree is Mabel. Just about everybody far and near takes a friendly call you hear. The most refreshing note of cheer is Mabel. How the good would get around. Now most everyone has found it's the most inviting sound of all. Mabel, as you like it, yes, sirree. The best of all good friends agree as they whistle cheerfully. Mabel, Carling, Black Label Beer.
In just a moment, we'll pause for station identification. Afterwards, Curly Morrison and I will return with some highlights. We pause now for station identification.
This is the CBC Television Network.
Well, Curly Morrison, all I can say is it's hard to believe. I can understand the Green Bay Packers being on top, but it's hard to believe they could be in front 24-0, particularly when you understand that Jim Taylor is limping and there's frankly no use out there today.
Hal, I agree with you. Even sitting here watching this game, it's hard to believe that the score is 24-0 because here are two really fine football teams. The only thing that I can say is that Green Bay is just doing the job a little more thoroughly, and they're really handling the defensive line for the most part of the Giants, which is certainly a terrific task in itself.
Well, anything you wanted to say about Green Bay would be true, and just about anything against the Giants would be true at this point. The Green Bay timing is perfect, and I noticed on all those pass plays, the Giants, the ball just seems to be a foot out of reach or a foot low or a foot high. Everything's off.
Well, they're getting a terrific rush by the Green Bay defensive line, and one of the things that I think is really keynoting this game is the fact that Paul Hornung, for the first time in 5 or 6 weeks, and Ray Nitschke and Boyd Dowler have been with the Packers to work the last 6 days. Hornung, you can certainly tell from games we saw previously where he was gone during the week in the service. He's had this whole week to brush up on his timing and execution of plays, and it certainly stood out here in the first half.
Of course, I imagine a couple of interceptions like Green Bay pulled off against the Giants, just as they tried to get something rolling. This must take the heart out of a football club.
Well, it does, and the amazing thing about that interception of Ray Nitschke's, which set up a score for Green Bay, was the fact that as the play started, he was head-on the offensive center of the Giants, and yet seconds, almost an instant, he was back 15 yards to pick off that pass, and that shows you how quick these big defensive linemen and linebackers can react to a situation.
Well, Curly, I know that Coach Allie Sherman of the Giants is a pretty good talker, but what does he say at halftime now, trailing 24-0?
Well, the only thing he can say now is, suppose we spent this whole season preparing for this game, and let's start executing a little bit.
Well, Curly, I know you've got some film shots here you want to explain to us. The first one, I believe, shows the great work of Paul Hornung, who is the outstanding offensive.
His run for a touchdown. It also shows the outstanding work of Kramer and Masters in their offensive line, carving the way, and a fine job of blocking by Jim Taylor. Let's take a look at this first here on the chart. This is the first touchdown of Green Bay. This is number 5, Paul Hornung right here, and this is Jim Taylor, the offensive fullback, and they're in a split position down here in the goal line. We've got the Giants' goal line defense really stacked in here. And the key block was done by Norm Masters, this offensive tackle, and Ron Kramer, number 88, the offensive end. When we look at it on videotape, you'll see the fine job that these two fellows do on Cass Cabbage, taking him down the line. The rest of these men are all checking back. That's automatic. Here Jim Taylor takes Livingston, 89, the linebacker, out. And he really does a nice job, and you'll see it. Out here, Boyd Dowler does a fine job in keeping Eric Barnes and the safety man back from coming up to make a quick tackle. He goes down as if he's an intended receiver and starts them back, and then, of course, he cuts in order to screen either one of them off, but that was never necessary because of the time he had started them back, Hornung was in the end zone. Let's take a look at it on videotape, and I think you'll see what I mean about the nice job that Kramer and Taylor and company do in blocking here for Paul Hornung. At the top of the screen to the right, you see number 88 and then number 76 on Green Bay, Norm Masters, the offensive end and tackle. Now watch them take Cabbage down the line, and watch Taylor right there knock Livingston back. And there you see the score. And that's typical of the doing up front, and of course Paul Hornung and Jim Taylor do for each other in their running game, and that's the secret.
Yeah, we've seen this happen practically all year long, where Hornung has been used as a blocker for Taylor, but this is one of the few times where it's been a reverse picture, isn't it?
That's right, and it's certainly evident that Jim Taylor is not up to his usual running form, so the Packers have had to reverse the situation a little bit, and fortunately they got two good fellows back there that can do that kind of job and help one another out.
You can tell he's not up to form because Taylor carried the ball once there in the second quarter, and Jimmy Patton came in on him over on the sidelines, and he knocked him just about 8 feet right across the sideline. Now, ordinarily, Taylor would have flattened Patton.
Well, that's right. You can tell that Jim Taylor is pretty well bound and taped up, and they're doing that, of course, to protect those kidneys. They've probably got a lot of sponge rubber around this rib cage area to protect the kidneys, and he's pretty well taped in, and that's the reason he's limited in motion. to some extent.
Now, later on in the quarter, we had a couple of pass plays, and one thing I want to point out, they were in around the 40-yard line and then in around the 20-yard line, and we were wondering whether they would have to kick the field goal. And you were pointing out that they'll try to keep the ball in the center here, and they were working pass plays.
That's right. There was a 3rd and 10 situation for Green Bay just before their second touchdown. They were about the 34 or 35-yard line of New York, Hal, and I did make a comment that in this particular instance, they're going to have to stay in position for a field goal in the event they can't pick up the first down. And what they really did, they threw just a quick little look-in pass to Ron Kramer so that he would take the ball right over the middle. And he probably had instructions, I'm sure, on this one. If you catch the ball, don't keep on going across the field for the sidelines. Turn and go straight up the middle and try to stay in the middle of the goalpost, because if we don't make first down and have to kick a field goal, we want to be in a good position for an angle. And I'll show you here on the diagram what I mean by that, Hal, and we can look on videotape in a moment. Here was the offensive formation with Horning and Taylor going this way. In other words, holding Huff and these fellows right here, making them play the play. For example, the good little quick toss that they run often to Taylor with Horning leading has been a very effective play all season. So Huff is keying on Taylor, and he starts this way. Now Kramer, really all he does is take a step across the line of scrimmage and look in, and there's no delay or dropping back to pass this one. Starr takes the ball. He doesn't even make any fake at all. He just raises up and throws quickly. And, of course, Dowler out here once again keeps Livingston and this halfback and this safety man. They have to keep their eyes on him because of his ability downfield. And all it is just one step back by the quarterback, and he fires the quick look into Kramer. And let's take a look at it, because he does a beautiful job of keeping the ball in the middle of the field in the event that he doesn't make the complete 10 yards for a first down. Here we see the good close look at Andy Robicelli and Tom Scott there of the New York Giants. There's Rosie Greer, all 290 pounds, Dick Modzelewski and Cat Cabbage and Cliff Livingston. Now Kramer is the end at the top of your screen, number 88. Here's Horning and Taylor deep back. They start this way. He steps back, and just a quick look into Kramer. And you'll notice he didn't keep coming on across the field. He turned and went right straight up the field towards the goalpost, so that if he hadn't picked up 10 yards for the first down, they were in a position to kick the field goal. This was the key play, and it certainly kept their drive alive, and they did make the first down. A few plays later, they're down about the old 14-yard line, and they throw the X in to Boyd Dowler for a touchdown.
We're going to have a look at that one, too?
We're going to take a look at that one, too, in a minute. But that is really good football, and that's what you call really doing what you want to do and handling like you own them when you can run a play like that and do it that well.
I noticed, as you pointed out, that Taylor and Horning, when they came left, Sam Huff would ordinarily be the man who would intercept that pass.
That's right, but he had trailed over, in other words, following the play, expecting that little quick toss to Taylor in the flat.
I noticed during the second quarter, too, I think Huff is getting a little annoyed. Some of those pileups there, he's looked as if he'd like to belt somebody, and he's just holding back because he knows he'd get thrown out.
And these kind of games, the championship game, as you know, it's a matter of pride, and more so today, they want to prove who's boss, and it can be a little frustrating when you're on the short end of the score. Now, this next play, Hal, was the one that went for the touchdown. It was the X-in to Dowler, who has been playing that wide flanking back all season. And I'd like to explain this play because this thing really opens up beautifully. You take a look at it on the chart. Here's Dowler out here who caught the touchdown pass, number 86. He's about 6'5", weighs about 230 pounds, and has a great pair of hands and good speed for a big man. Now this is what we call a flare-type pass, where we send out 5 receivers. Both Horning and Taylor are swinging out on this pass, and they immediately take these corner linebackers out with them when they do that. That's the first reaction because nobody else is here to cover them. These fellows have got to come out with them. Now Dowler starts down the field straight at Eric Barnes and takes him back, and when he starts to move back, then he makes his break because he knows by this time that Kramer has also started down the field towards the safety man here, and taking him back, and then it'll come clear for him coming across the middle, and that's exactly what happened. The linebackers are occupied by the swing men, so they take the pressure off of Dowler here. This linebacker, in other words, is not going to be able to ride him in. The same thing would be true over here had that been the point of attack, because Scott, the linebacker over here, would have had to come off with Horny. Therefore, McGee would have had some freedom going down the field. The fact that McGee is a good key receiver also holds this safety man over here. He can't come over and help out on the cross until the ball is in the air, and then, of course, it's too late. So let's take a look at it on videotape and see how well it opened up. It's a third down situation again with about 10 yards to go on the 18-yard line. Now you see both backs swinging out of the backfield, and there you see Dowler coming in on the cross, taking the ball and right straight into the end zone. And there again, that's one of those situations where you call them and execute them just like you own them. And of course, one thing against the Giants today, they are getting a little home cooking from the Green Bay local fans.
When you're winning 24-0, all those plays execute beautifully.
Well, I'll say they do.
Shirley, you've played in a couple of championship games with the Cleveland Browns. You won 2 National Football League titles, and I know you were a regular halfback at the time. I'm wondering just how you fellas feel, during the week coming up to the game and the night before the game. Can you tell me?
Well, Hal, the week before a championship game is a feverish week. I must tell you that as far as the ball club is concerned, you have to prepare just like any other ball game. You don't change your routine that you've been going on week after week, month after month. Your preparation for the game and everything is exactly the same. You put in special game plans. But the last 2 or 3 nights before a championship game, you'll find it pretty hard to get a good solid night's sleep. You're restless, and there's just a lot of things building and keying up on your mind. And actually the last couple of days, the ball players are living on nervous energy. And they can almost expend themselves before they get in the ball game, but they have that little extra thing that keeps them going. It's the big letdown afterwards that really takes it out of you.
All right, Shirley. In just a moment, we'll go back to Green Bay for some halftime activities. The first half of the World of Sport, featuring the greatest show in football, is presented for your enjoyment by the Carling Breweries Limited, brewers of Carling Red Cap Ale.
The second half of today's game between the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers is brought to you by Ford of Canada, on behalf of your Ford dealer who sells and services the 1962 Galaxy, Fairlane, and Falcon. And by Cameo, the filter cigarette with just a touch of menthol.
Shirley, I see we have a little more time, and I'm delighted because I want to continue with this talk about how you feel before a game. Now, what final games did you play? And you were with Cleveland. Who'd you play?
Well, in the 2 championship games that I played with Cleveland, in 1954, we played against Detroit, and we beat them 56-10. And in 1955, the World Championship game against the Rams in Los Angeles, we won 38-14.
Well, let's talk about that Los Angeles one. Now, can you remember, the game was played on a Sunday, was it?
It was, and it was the largest crowd that has ever witnessed a National League Championship game. There were over 85,000 in the Los Angeles
Well, now, let's reminisce a bit here. What did you do on Saturday night before the game?
Well, we have a regular routine with the Browns, Hal. We all eat together around 6:30, and then we always go to a movie together in mass, in a group, and we usually get a choice, and we vote and decide which local movie and the nearest theater we can see. And I've forgotten the one we saw. I'm sure I couldn't remember anything about it, but that was our routine, and back to the hotel and in bed around 10:30, and it's a pretty restless night because you're playing the game hours before it starts.
All right, I think it's time, Curly, to go back to City Stadium in Green Bay, where we'll see some halftime activities right after this message.
Now here's a commercial with a twist, the Falcon twist.
You're going to get a new Falcon?
A 62 Falcon.
Everybody loves Falcon, so listen, Malcolm. Pick me up in your Falcon. I'll be ready at 8.
I'll be there with my Falcon. We'll have a wonderful ride.
And I'll be right at your side.
Economical Falcon. Cost so little to run.
With the money we save with a Falcon,
We can sure have a barrel of fun. Everybody loves Falcon.
lots of reason to boast.
Because you get more from a Falcon.
The car America loves the most. It's America's favorite, so economical, low-price compact car. Oh, Malcolm.
Go to your Ford dealer. You'll be welcomed, Malcolm.
bewitched in the Paso Del Play arrangement. We'll be set for the second half kickoff in just a moment.
It's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo, refreshingly different.
With Cameo, you get only the coolness of menthol. You taste only the natural flavor of fine, fully matured tobacco. Refreshing, like an igloo on a warm August day. Try a pack of Cameo soon. They're filter tipped, king size.
There's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo, refreshingly different.
And while the Lake Band is completing its halftime show here, and a very fine halftime performance it is, perhaps we should explain for the benefit of fans who have been sending a few wires here about the manner in which the Green Bay Packers got the ball on the 20-yard line just before the end of the first half. The line of scrimmage was the 6, and Gators overthrew Kyle Rote in the end zone, and the ball was thrown out to the 20. In the National Football League, an incompletion on fourth down in the end zone is a touchback, and the ball comes out to the 20 and not to the line of scrimmage. That is the rule in the National Football League. Both teams back on the field here now, and the band still on the goal line with another number yet to play also. However, they are marching them off as the teams are ready to play football. And as we start the second half of the ball game, it's the Green Bay Packers 24 and the New York Giants nothing. Giants are going to be kicking off here because you'll recall that the Giants won the toss at the start of the ball game and elected to receive. So at the start of this half, it is the Packers who get the option, and it is Pat Summerall who is putting the ball down on the kicking tee to kick off for the New York Giants. This is Summerall's first appearance in this ball game this afternoon. The deep men are Tom Moore, number 25, and Herb Adderley, number 26. Deep for the Green Bay Packers to receive the kickoff. The Green Bay Packers, having dominated the first half of this ball game and leading by a score of 24-0. That hand is for the Lake Band from Milwaukee as they march off the field. In the first half, the New York Giants got only 1 first down rushing, 2 first downs passing, and 1 first down by penalty. The Giants picked up only 35 yards rushing against the Green Bay defense. The Packers had 7 first downs rushing, 5 passing, 1 by penalty for 13 first downs. They had 101 yards rushing and 106 yards passing. All right, the kickoff. Pat Summerall. It's going to be short. It's on the 20, and it's picked up at the 20-yard line and returned up past the 35. By Tom Bevis. And it's going to be placed on the 36-yard line, put in play first and 10. So now the Green Bay Packers have the ball, first and 10, and they have it on their own 36-yard line. They lead by a score of 24-0 as we start the second half. Jimmy Patton is back in the ball game. He was removed after he was shaken up in the first half. He is back there, deep safety for the New York Giants. Bart Starr, number 15, the quarterback. Gives it off to Paul Hornung. Rosie Greer, number 76, coming over on the tackle. And Joe Morrison, number 40. Paul Harning, number 5. They've got a great deal of action carrying that football in the first half. Picked up only 1 yard here. So it is second down at 9 as the ball moves to the 37-yard line.
David Langston of Kenosha called operator 6. David Langston of Kenosha called operator 6 on Mercantile.
Dar palmed the ball for a moment, running it out of the pocket, out of the 40 to the 45, to the 50, and it's Dwight Starr going to the 41-yard line, fumbled the ball. It's picked up by Jimmy Patton, and Patton is running it to the 40. And he is being pulled down by Gregg on the far side of the field, Forrest Gregg, number 75. So Jim Patton is the man who recovered the fumble. However, there's a penalty marker on the play, illegal procedure against the Green Bay Packers. He's fined because the Giants want the football, and they get it 1st and 10 on their own 42. So the Giants get a break early here. They held the ball on their own 42-yard line. Charlie Connolly, number 42, is starting this half at quarterback. Wyatt Tittle started the ball game. Connolly starting now. Referee Rennick comes in and picks up the ball. Goes it across the field. He has called time, being followed by the Green Bay Packers over. The head linesman Heiberger. Heiberger's number 48 there. The referee is George Rennick, number 52. So what have we here? Illegal procedure, he said, was the call. That's Kyle Rote, number 44. Co-captain of the New York Giants up there. An explanation, and we hope to get one here from George Rennick any moment ourselves. Ball has been spotted now on the 47-yard line of the New York Giants. That's Kyle Rote, number 44, still trying to get things explained to him. The Green Bay Packer offensive unit has come back onto the field. New York Giant defensive unit has come back on, although the offensive unit is not left entirely. And the chain has been extended toward the Green Bay Packer goal. And who has the football? Well, it's being taken back now. Illegal procedure against the Green Bay Packers. The 5-yard penalty has been assessed, and that is Andy Robistelli, player coach of the New York Giants, who is talking to head linesman Heiberger now. And apparently things are going to proceed from right here. As the ball is being moved back to the 35-yard line. It is first down. And 15 yards to go as the chain is now extended. All right, this is Paul Harning. That's Thurston out in front of him. He cuts inside. To the 45-yard line. Huff and Robistelli. Huff, number 70. Robistelli, number 81. Coming over on the tackle. So the ball is on the 45-yard line. That will make it second down and 5 yards to go. Second down, 5 yards to go. He is left, Dollar is right. Jim Taylor gets the football and goes for 1 yard, met by Sam Huff, number 70, along with Cliff Livingston, number 89. Again, a yard on the play. So it is third down and 4 yards to go for the Green Bay Packers, who lead here by a score of 24-0 in the third quarter. And now another conference between referee Rennick and head linesman Heiberger. This is over what down it is. It says third. right, Max McGee is put to the left side, and Boyle Dollar is flanked to the right side. Horning and Taylor in the running back position. And Starr slipped down as he started back, hung a cleat, passes out into the flat, gets rid of it. It's an incompleted pass. Max McGee, the man for whom it was intended. Dick Lynch was covering him, so now it is 4th and 4 at the 46-yard line. And the Green Bay Packers get set for their first kicking situation of this ball game. Morrison and Wells are dropping back, the deep men. Morrison is 40 and Wells is number 28. As Boyd Dollar will do the kicking for the Green Bay Packers, standing right now on his own 32-yard line. Bobbles it for a moment. It's partially blocked. Turning around. And Larry Hayes picks it up. And he fumbles it. And the Giants have recovered it. It is the Giants on the football. Cliff Livingston was the man who partially blocked it. Hayes had it for a moment, and then it was recovered by the New York Giants. By Mickey Walker, number 65. So the Giants are in position 1st and 10 at their own 46-yard line. Connolly has the football. He is swinging it out to Webster. Webster cannot get away from Willie Davis, number 87. And so Davis, number 87, with help from Tom Bettis, number 65. Pulled him down. Lost of 5 yards on the play. It is 2nd and 15 at the 35. Joe Chotness splits part of the left side. Cal Rhodes flank to the right side. It's a draw play, and again it's losing yardage. Alex Webster carried on the draw as Connolly came back and handed it off. That one loses 4 yards back to the 31-yard line. It's 3rd and 19 now at the 31-yard line. The Green Bay defense pouring in on the New York Giants as Green Bay leads here by a score of 24-0. 9 minutes, 50 seconds unofficially remaining to be played in the third quarter. Schaffner is split to the left side. Rhodes is flanked to the right side. Walden, the tight end, is split about 3 yards. Connolly retreating to throw. Looks for Schaffner. Instead throws to Walden, cutting across. And Joe Walden came across with the diving catch at the 50-yard line. He took the linebacker, Bill Forrester, number 71, out there with him. So it was Schaffner going deep and Walden cutting across. The pass went to Walden at the 50. Not enough for the first down. It is 4th down and 1 yard to go. 4th down and 1 yard to go. And so Chandler has come into the ball game now. Don Chandler, the punter, has come in for the New York Giants. And the Green Bay Packers have dropped back. Willie Wood, number 24, and Lou Carpenter, number 33. There they are, the deep men. Giants trail by 24 points here. Chandler kicking. High spiraling kick over the Wood side of the field. He lets it go, and it goes out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. You see exactly where it's lined up as it's brought to the inbound marker. Bob Sims was downfield covering in a hurry. And so the Green Bay Packers have the football. They have it at their own 14.5-yard line. We'll call it the 14 to start this series. McGee is split left, and Dallas flank right. Bart Starr, number 15, the quarterback. That's Jim Taylor, number 31, directly behind him. Sam Huff on the nose across. Going from those Jim Taylor carries. Tom Scott, number 82, the right outside linebacker, coming over to make the tackle. 2nd and 10 on the 14 for the Green Bay Packers. This is the first time in history that the National Football League Championship game has ever been played in Green Bay, Wisconsin, despite the fact that they've had a pro football team here for more than 40 years. It's a big day in Green Bay. He left, Dollar right. Horning and Taylor, the running back. Bart Starr swinging it out to Horning, and it it is going as an incomplete pass. Rosie Greer and Jim Katkavich in there putting the rush on Bart Starr. He fired it out to the front. That makes it 3rd and 10 at the 14-yard line. These Green Bay Packers are community-owned, incidentally, and now Taylor is coming out of the ball game and getting a hand. Jim Taylor gets a hand as he is replaced by Tom Moore, former Vanderbilt star. There's Taylor. Taylor sustained a kidney injury in the final game of the regular season at Los Angeles against the Rams, and it was problematical as to just how much he would be able to play in this ball game. He has been a big help, however, in that first drive. He was a tremendous help. All right, this is Horning carrying. Got short of the 20-yard line by Elitch Barnes, number 49, the defensive left halfback. That will set up a punting situation for the Green Bay Packers. It's 4th and 5 at the 19-yard line.
4th and 5.
So Wells and Morrison are the deep men there. Morrison at the bottom of your screen and Joel Wells at the top. As Boyd Dowler will do the kicking. Gets this one off a long, high, spiraling kick. Morrison drops it at the 25, chases it around, scrambles for it, and it's recovered for the Green Bay Packers. Forrest Gregg has recovered the fumble. Forrest Gregg, number 75. And so now the Green Bay Packers have the football. It is at the 22-yard line of the New York Giants. Forrest Gregg came over to the sideline, now coming right back out there. So the Packers are in possession, 1st and 10. This is Tom Moore carrying, number 25, to the 16-yard line. Sam Huff, number 70 on the tackle, along with Joe Morrison, number 40. Green Bay Packers leading by 24 points and driving here. Second down and 4 yards to go for the Green Bay Packers on the New York Giants 16. This is Paul Harney. Picked up about 1 yard to the 15. Dick Modulewski, number 77 on the tackle, along with Rosie Greer, number 76, and Sam Huff, number 70. Ball is spotted squarely on the 15-yard line. 3rd down and 3 yards to go there. We have 5 minutes, 30 seconds unofficially remaining to be played in the 3rd quarter here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with the Packers leading the Giants by a score of 24-0 and driving. Dowler flank to the right side. Max McGee is split to the left side. White Star has the ball, throwing, and it is incomplete into the hands of Elitch Barnes, who bounces the ball on the turf. Elitch Barnes, number 49, Giants defensive left halfback. Pass was intended for Paul Harning, who was swinging by him, but it simply goes as an incomplete pass. 4th and 3. And the field goal unit has come onto the field now for the Green Bay Packers. Starr will hold, and Horning will kick, and it'll be from the 21-yard line. Second, the 22-yard line now. Horning's kick is up, and it's good. It's right on the field with the score. The Green Bay Packers 27 and the New York Giants nothing.
Ford Fairlane for 1962. Completely new in quality, luxury, value. The 1962 Fairlane. Beautifully styled from every angle. Just look at its classic roofline. Thin, dramatically defined with the high-fashion Thunderbird look. Look at its handsome full-width grille, gleaming good-looking with wide-spaced dual headlights. Look at its clean rear deck, beautifully proportioned, with Ford's traditional round tail lights. Styling excellence is typical of the new standards of quality engineering and design that are built into the 62 Ford Fairlane. Find out for yourself. See it, drive it at your Ford dealers. First chance you get.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Chris Schenkel in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and right now you're going to see Ben Agajanian kick off for the Green Bay Packers, who have just kicked the field goal. Paul Horning did to run it up to 27-0. These men are Wells and Gators. As the kickoff is sailing back and into the end zone and all the way out of the end zone. So it's a touchback to be put in play on the 20-yard line. If you are as confused as we have been by that penalty a moment ago and the placement of the ball, well, we've been trying to check around and find out. Chris Schenkel, what have you found out?
Well, other than the fact that a great deal of excitement has been generated by the fine play of the Packers, everything now is a little bit confused. Some people thinking that the Packers had 5 downs, including the penalty, that apparently was a motion penalty back at the 35-yard line. So we're trying to check further, and when we get the word, we'll give it right to you. Lindsey Nelson.
This is Charlie Conley retreating to throw the screen pass. He gets it out to Webster. Webster is being hauled out from behind by Henry Jordan, number 74 from Virginia. Webster moving it up to the 25-yard line. Again, a 5 yards on the play. The situation we're discussing is the fact that it was 2nd and 9 for the Packers on the 37. They drew the penalty, a 5-yard penalty, and then it was set up as 1st and 15. And they ran 4 more plays. And that is the situation being muchly discussed around the press box and around here right now. All right, Charlie Conley, quarterback in there for the Giants. Intended for Walden, it's incomplete. Joe Walden, number 80, the man for whom it is intended. Dan Curry, number 58, the corner linebacker, taking him out there. Bill Schaffner had gone deep that time for the New York Giants. That'll make it 3rd and 5 on the 25. This ball game has been dominated entirely by the Green Bay Packers here this afternoon on their home field. This stadium was opened in 1957. Phil King, number 24, is in there at quarterback now, and Webster has gone out for the New York Giants. That is Section Charlie Conley, 40 years old, from Mississippi. Running out of the pocket and throwing incomplete, intended for Phil King, number 24. Willie Davis, number 87, was pouring in there on him and running him out of the pocket. That sets up a punting situation, 4th and 5 for the Giants. Don Chandler comes in to do the kicking. And the Green Bay Packers drop back. Willie Wood and Lou Carpenter. Wood at the top of your screen, number 24, and Lou Carpenter at the bottom, number 33. Don Chandler, number 34, to do the punting for the New York Giants. Approximately 4 minutes remaining to be played in the 3rd quarter. Chandler sails it out of there. Fair catch called for by Wood. Call for the fair catch. And Joel Wells bumped him right there. So it's a 15-yard penalty. He called for the fair catch, and you cannot touch him under those circumstances. But he was bumped, and so now the Green Bay Packers have it 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line of the New York Giants. So again, the Packers have the ball in Giant territory. He hit Dollar at the 40-yard line. Here it's Barnes, bulldogging him out of bounds between the 30 and 35. Biff Livingston and Sam Huff lending assistance there. There's Floyd Dollar, number 86. Dollar was quarterback in Colorado in college. Ball is being marked at the 32-yard line. So it's a first down. Across the way, you can see Y.A. Tittle warming up for the Giants. That's Tittle at the top of your screen throwing up there. Right, moving up the middle. Paul Hornung carrying. Sam Huff on the tackle, along with Andy Rovistelli. Being marked at the 26-yard line. Second down and 4 yards to go for the Green Bay Packers. Driving again deep into Giant territory. The Packers lead here by a score of 27-0. Tom Moore and Paul Hornung in the running back positions. Bart Starr, number 15, is the quarterback. Dowler right on the line. McGee flank to the left side. He throws to Dowler. The catch inside, and it is completed at about the 13-yard line. Erich Barnes, the defender. Boyd Dowler is 6 feet 5 inches tall. He can reach up there, and the ball is being brought and marked now at the 13-yard line. First down play, so it's 1st and 10 now for the Green Bay Packers at the Giant 13-yard line. Dallas on the line at the right, and McGee is flanked to the left side. This is Paul Hornung throwing, and it's incomplete to Max McGee. Joe Morrison and Dick Lynch covering. Modulewski was in there on Hornung, but he managed to get it off anyway. Jimmy Taylor coming back to the ball game at fullback. And Tom Moore is coming out for the Green Bay Packers. Taylor was an All-American at LSU, 1957. That was Billy Cannon's sophomore year at LSU, but the big ball player on that team was this Jimmy Taylor. All right, Starr is retreating to throw. Throws to Kramer, and it's a touchdown. With Joe Morrison that he went around, and Kramer slipped out on the ice off in the corner. Kramer slipped on the ice after he left the field. He got out there on that hard clay that is completely frozen and slipped on, but after he had scored the touchdown, his second of the day, Joe Morrison was the defender that he went around as he went into the end zone. And now it's Paul Hornung to kick on the conversion attempt. It is up. And it's good. Offside against the Giants at that point was refused because it is good, and there's time out on the field with the score of the Green Bay Packers 34 and the New York Giants nothing.
It's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo. Refreshingly different.
With Cameo, you get only the coolness of menthol. You taste only the natural flavor of fine, fully matured tobaccos. Refreshing, like a snowfall in summer. Try a pack of Cameo soon. They're filter tips, king size.
There's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo. Refreshingly different.
Agajanian will kick off again for the Green Bay Packers. And the deep men are Gators and Wells. After Agajanian kicked a couple short, they moved Gators and Wells up to about the 8-yard line, and then the last time, Agajanian kicked it right on into the end zone and out. So Agajanian again kicking, a little short, And it is Joel Wells at the 10-yard line. Wells to the 15, to the 20, to the 25. Wells to the 30. Still going and gets it up to the 35-yard line. Joel Wells returning it. Willie Wood on the tackle. Ball is spotted near the 34, so let's start this series first and 10 at the 34-yard line. And Y.A. Tittle is back in at quarterback for the New York Giants. Tittle started the ball game. Relieved by Conley in the second quarter. Conley started the second half. Tittle is asking for quiet. And now he is talking to the referee, and he is going to call him back in the huddle. Tittle got up there, apparently could not hear his signals, and a timeout has been called on the field here. The New York Giants trailing in this ball game by 34 points. Now they're set to go as the clock will be started again. Del Schaffner sits to the left side. Kyle Roach flank to the right side. Bob Gators is the left halfback. And he hits Roach. And the Giants got the football. It is Joe Walton, number 80. Roach took the pass, fumbled, and Walden recovered. And so the Giants retain possession at their own 48-yard line, first and 10. About a minute and a half remaining to be played in the third quarter here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Schaffner splits to the left side, Roach flank right. Tittle retreating to throw. And he throws to Schaffner, his first catch of the day. Simak, number 27, is there. And Willie Wood, number 24, also on the tackle. That's the first down for the Giants now. First and 10 as they held the ball on the 33-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. Up until that moment, Jesse Whitman has been doing a fine job of covering Del Schaffner out here this afternoon. Y.A. Tittle slipping as he started back for the ball, so it is simply going to be grounded back there. Schaffner had gone deep. He was the deep man. And Tittle trying to get back in a hurry. Pull down on the 39-yard line. Second and 16 now. That is the Packer defense. Number 87 is Davis, 79 is Tanner, 74 is Jordan, and 83 is Bill Quinlan. 58 there is Dan Curry. 71 is Forrester. 24 is Willie Wood. 47 is Whitman. 46 is Grimminger. All right, Schaffner is split part of the left side. Tittle hits him. And he is hit immediately by Willie Wood, number 24. Schaffner and Tittle are roommates, incidentally, on the road. So the ball goes to the 31-yard line. That's going to make it third down and 8 yards to go. Third and 8 for the Giants. And there's the gun. That's the end of the third quarter with the score of the Green Bay Packers 34, the New York Giants nothing.
Quiet. Quiet as midnight. Quick. Quick as a minute. That's the essence of Galaxy. This shining new Galaxy by Ford. Its thrust is pure Thunderbird, up to 401 horsepower. A 62 Galaxy now outperforms America's most expensive luxury cars, and does it in a whisper. Silence has always been an important test of how well, how solidly, how conscientiously a car is built. And Galaxy is as silent as a secret. Because this Galaxy is the most carefully crafted in Ford's long history of fine craftsmanship. How long has it been since you've driven a new Ford? Try one soon. For something wonderfully quick, something wonderfully quiet has happened. Drive this new Galaxy soon at your Ford dealers.
Bankston. Lombardi with the white cap on there, and Bankston with the black hat on, his defensive coach. And across the way, Al Sherman, the rookie coach of the New York Giants and coach of the year in the National Football League. All right, Y.A. Tittle retreating to throw now, and he throws to Rote, and it's incomplete. Grimminger was the defender, number 46 in the case. So that is going to make it 4th down and 8 yards to go for the New York Giants. Incidentally, Jack Stroud is now playing offensive right tackle in place of Larson, and Mickey Walker, number 65, is playing the right guard position. That is for the New York Giants. Stroud can be used interchangeably at guard or tackle. All right, the Giants trail by 34 points. This is 4th and 8 at the 31-yard line. Tittle, Gators, King, and Rote in the backfield. Now they move King up into the slot as they widen Walton out. Tittle retreating, and he kicks it. Henry Jordan in there along with Dave Hanner, number 79. Bill Quinlan, number 83, pulled him down. That was 4th down, so the ball goes over. 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers on their own 40-yard line.
For the Green Bay Packers, both offensively and defensively, as Bart Starr, the quarterback, has yet to be touched by a Giant defensive player thanks to the great blocking of the men up front.
All right, Chris Schenkel, there is Starr, number 15. Gives it off to Paul Horning. Horning is hit at the line of scrimmage by Jim Katkavich, number 75, and Dick Marchulewski, number 77. That's Sam Huff, number 70 in there. Packers right now have Tom Moore running in at fullback instead of Jim Taylor. Green Bay Packers, who won the Western Conference Championship last year but lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in the championship game. They repeated as Western Conference champs this year, and they're leading in the championship game over the Giants 34-0 in the final quarter. Here's a quick pitch to Tom Moore. Can't go anything, still back on the 35-yard line. Dick Lynch, number 22, Sam Huff, number 70, coming in to make the tackle. Tom Scott, number 82 there. So there's a loss of 5 yards on that play, make it 3rd and 15. And here comes Jim Taylor onto the field for the Green Bay Packers, number 31. Racing into the huddle, and Tom Moore is coming on. It is the depth of the Green Bay Packers that brought them home well ahead of the pack this season, because with their Army losses and with their injuries, had they not had the depth, they might have been in bad trouble. But they were able to send men like Tom Moore right into that lineup and feel the damage hardly at all. It's a running carry. And running goes up to the 48-yard line. On the pass from Bart Starr. Jim Patton and Sam Huff on the tackle, and that is Huff still on the ground. Still not enough for the first down. It is 4th and 2 at the 48-yard line. Wells and Morrison are deep for the Giants as Dollar goes into punt formation for the Green Bay Packers. Dollar gets it off. Fair catch call for us at the 21-yard line by Joe Morrison. And that is where the Giants will take over 1st and 10. 12 minutes, 22 seconds unofficially remaining to be played in this National Football League Championship game in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Green Bay Packers were first organized as a pro football team by Curly Lambeau back in 1919. The Indian Packing Company was touched for $500 to pay for the sweaters and the stockings. In return, the team was called the Packers. Well, the Indian Packing Company has long since gone by the board, but the Packers survive and prosper. Y.A. Tittle running the attack now, number 14 for the New York Giants. Throws a long pass to Schaffner. Whittenden has the football. Jesse Whittenden is intercepted, and Schaffner is riding along his back to pull him down. You saw Trimac, number 27, get into the act. The spot is going to be marked where the interception occurred, and the Green Bay Packers take over at their own 38-yard line.
Ladies and gentlemen, I doubt if anybody will see a better game played by an individual team that the Green Bay Packers are showing to millions on television, and a record Green Bay crowd right here today of 39,029 paid. The largest crowd here at Green Bay because of the addition of temporary seats here in this Bay City.
All right, Chris Schenkel, Green Bay in charge again at Bart Starr, number 5. He's calling starting signals. Throws a quick pop pass to Dollar, and he dropped it. He was popped immediately by Eric Barnes, number 49. And Sam Huff, number 70, both jumping in there. That is Huff, number 70, you see right there. Goes as an incomplete pass, 2nd and 10 now for the Packers at the 38-yard line. If you like success stories, take a look at Bart Starr, the quarterback of Green Bay, when he comes up here. He was quarterback on an Alabama football team that lost every game of the season. He wasn't drafted until the 17th round. He broke in on the Tobin Road, had to fight off Babe Parilli and Lamar McCann to get this job. He got it for good this year and has brought him home a winner. Bart Starr, number 15, from Montgomery, Alabama. This is Tom Moore, number 25, carrying. Sam Huff, number 70, and Joe Morrison, number 40, on the tackle. It's at the 41-yard line. Gain of 3. It is 3rd down and 7 for the Green Bay Packers. McGee left and Dollar right. Tom Moore and Paul Horning in the running back position. You saw Robicelli break across the penalty marker goes down. You saw Andy Robicelli. There's Mike Gillespie also moving over. So the penalty is against the New York Giants. 5-yard penalty for offside. Makes it 3rd down and 2 yards to go now. For the Packers at their own 46-yard line. Green Bay Packers 34, and the New York Giants nothing at City Stadium in Green Bay. This is Paul Horning going for enough to get the first down and into Giant territory. Sam Huff and Dick Modulewski on the tackle, along with Cliff Livingston, number 89. Ball is being spotted at the 47-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers in Giant territory. Jim Taylor's back in at fullback, and Tom Moore has come out now for the Green Bay Packers. Paul Horning still in the other running back position. Jim Taylor carrying it on the draw, and Taylor finds an opening, goes to the 30-yard line, comes to the outside, and he is not the 15-yard line, and he is being run out of bounds by Eric Barnes, number 49. He got a nice block from number 86, Boyd Dollar, downfield. Jimmy Taylor bursting through, going to the outside. It's at the 14-yard line. 1st down, 10 yards to go for the Packers as they're leading 34-0 and driving. Boyd Dollar's on the line to the right flank, and Max McGee is flanked to the left. This is Paul Horning. Hey, he runs into him. That's the white jerseys on the far side. Dick Lynch came up there. Jim Katchavage, Sam Huff. That is Forrest Gregg, number 75, who was trying to lead the player on there. A loss of 6 as the ball is spotted at the 20th, 2nd and 16 now for the Packers. Paul Horning from Louisville, Kentucky, Heisman Trophy winner and All-American quarterback. The number 1 draft choice for the Green Bay Packers when he came into the Pro League. They tried him at quarterback, he couldn't make it. They tried him at fullback, he didn't make it. They tried him at halfback, and he became the most valuable player in the league. Starr swinging it out to Paul Horning. Clock is out in front of the screen. Horning going to the 12-yard line. Modulewski coming up on the tackle along with Joe Morrison, number 40. Gillespie's number 77. He's an All-American in Maryland. Ball is at the 12-yard line. Make it third down and 8 yards to go for the Green Bay Packers. They say that these Green Bay Packers are a community project and a regional religion. Bart Starr retreating, throwing to the corner, and it is incomplete. Intended for Ron Kramer, number 88. Joe Morrison covering over there. 4th and 8 on the 12, and the field goal team has come onto the field now. The field goal unit has come onto the field for the Green Bay Packers. They lead 34-0 with 8 minutes 15 seconds unofficially remaining to be played in this game. The difference between winning and losing is about $2,000 per man. Winners will get something over $5,000 each. Losers will get something over $3,000 each. All right, it'll be a 19-yard field goal attempt with Starr holding and Paul Hornung kicking. It's up, and it's good. So there's timeout on the field with the score of the Green Bay Packers 37 and the New York Giants nothing.
It's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo, refreshingly different.
With Cameo, you get only the coolness of menthol. You taste only the natural flavor of fine, fully matured tobaccos. Refreshing, like ice on a day in June. Try a pack of Cameo soon. They're filter tipped, king size.
There's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo, refreshingly different.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Chris Schenkel in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ben Agajanian will kick off in the deep minute gate is number 35 and Joel Wells number 28 as you see them from our ground level camera. Ben Agajanian, 42 years old, boots the ball. Gators on the 5-yard line. Gators to the 10 to the 15. Gators to the 20, skates a yard and goes to the 25 and is hit just across the 25-yard line. That'll be put in play at the 26. Willie Wood came up to make the tackle. Y.A. Tittle is going to run the attack now for the New York Giants. Giants have been shut out thus far this afternoon by the Green Bay Packers. Gators, Webster, Rote. And the ball is fumbled, recovered by the Giants. Back about the 22. As it is Gators who fell on the ball, number 35. As Tittle fell and dropped the ball as he did, it bounded around. He couldn't get to it. He couldn't move, so the ball is on the 22, a loss of 4. 2nd and 14. And now Phil King is coming to the ball game, and you see Alex Webster leading on the far side. King is in his fullback, number 24 for the New York Giants. Del Schaffner split far to the left side. Rote is flanked to the right side. And Y.A. Tittle retreats to throw. Throws to Schaffner. And that is Whittington right on his back. Jesse Whittington, number 47. That's Ray Nitschke, number 66. Willie Wood, number 24. But Tittle hits Schaffner, and it's at the 36-yard line. 1st and 10. This has been an afternoon when very little has gone right for the New York Giants and very little has gone wrong for the Green Bay Packers as they lead 37-0. These teams played once in the exhibition series, and the Packers won 20-17. They played once during the regular season, and the Packers won 20-17. Tittle is winging it out to Kyle Rote. Ray Nitschke was red dogging in there on Tittle. Ray Nitschke was red dogging in on Tittle, and Phil got it out there intended for Rote. But Tittle is just now back on his feet, loosening up a little. And now John Simak is coming out of the ball game, and Imlin Tunnell is going in the secondary for the Green Bay Packers. Imlin Tunnell, who saw a lot of years of great service with the Giants, has replaced Simak in the secondary. Second and 10 is the 36 for the Giants. And off is to Phil King, and the Chiefs is being filled for a loss. Bill Quinlan, number 83, firing it on him, former Michigan Stater, who came to Green Bay from Cleveland, as did three of that front four, as a matter of fact. Third down and 12 yards to go. A loss of 2 on that last handoff. We were speaking of how the Packers got their name. The Giants got their name when Tim Mara bought the team back in 1925, and he named them in honor of John McGraw's baseball Giants, who also played the Polo Ground. Giants have gone to San Francisco, of course, now, the baseball Giants. It is Grimminger, incomplete. It was intended for Road, and Grimminger sort of leaned over and tried to grab it and couldn't hang on. Grimminger's number 46. So it is 4th and 12 from the 34-yard line. A punting situation, and Don Chandler's coming to do the kicking. Willie Wood and Lou Carpenter are the deep men. Wood at the top of your screen and Carpenter at the bottom. 37-0. The Packers leading the Giants. Now it's across the 30 to the 25. And it's going to be blown dead right there. That'll be 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line for the Green Bay Packers.
As the Packers take over here at City Stadium, the Giants haplessly trying to avert a shutout. There have been very few in the history of the National Football League title game. In fact, the first started in Milwaukee in 1939 when the Green Bay Packers shut out the New York Giants 27-0. And the great Packers are doing it again here this afternoon.
All right, Bart Starr's the quarterback. Tom Moore is in there at fullback right now. Here's the pitch to Moore. Turns the corner. Gets across the 30-yard line. Cliff Livingston, number 89, coming over on the tackle, along with Ewis Barnes, number 49. Well, it's on the 31-yard line, and now Paul Hornung has gone out of the ball game, and coming in is Elijah Pitts. Hornung is getting a standing ovation as he comes off the field. There is Paul Hornung getting a standing ovation from these fans. There they are up and on their feet. Jerry Knappel has gone in also, replacing Kramer. Knappel's in it in. Looking on at 4 yards to go. This is Moore finding a big hole. It's all the way back to the secondary. Here is Barnes, number 49. Rosie Greer, number 76, coming across. It's the first down for the Green Bay Packers. Now Max McGee has come off the field, and Max McGee is getting a big hand as he has come off here. There he is, number 85, Max McGee. Lou Carpenter has replaced him, number 33, and he has slipped to the left side this time. So Knappel and Carpenter, the ends in for Green Bay right now. Pitts and Moore are the running back. This is Elijah Pitts. Big Rosie Greer, number 76. Takes the tackle with help from Joe Morrison, number 40. Now Boyd Dowler has come out of the ball game. Boyd Dowler has come out of the ball game. Lee Hawkins has come in now, replacing Dowler. Lee Hawkins, number 81. Second down and 9 yards to go. This is Pitts again. Ball's across the 45-yard line. Andy Robicelli made the tackle. Now John Roach is going into the ball game. Roach is going into the ball game, and Bart Starr is coming out. Pitts to the hand for Bart Starr. Packers getting a hand as they're being brought out one by one with 2.5 minutes remaining to be played in this championship game. The Packer fans have waited 17 years for another championship. They will take full advantage of this New Year's Eve celebration. It's carrying. Sam Huff making the tackle. Help from Jim Katkavich. Ball is spotted on the 40-yard line. It is 4th and 12. And now, with 2 minutes remaining, there's timeout on the field with the score of the Green Bay Packers 37, the New York Giants nothing.
Montreal's colorful, bustling, crowded Bon Secours market, as seen by George Fair. Look at the narrow little street. Hey, is that car actually going to drive through all those push carts, wagons, and people? Well, if any car can make it, this one can. It's the new 62 Ford Falcon. Watch how beautifully it handles. See that? That's Falcon maneuverability in action. Parking. Take your pick of the spot. Falcon fits where others won't. Trunk space? Falcon's got loads of it. 23.7 cubic feet to be exact. And the way Falcon looks. Beautiful, neat, trim lines. Falcon goes up to 35 miles in a gallon of regular gas. Falcon goes up to 6,000 miles between oil changes. Falcon is at your Ford dealers now. The 62 Ford Falcon, Canada's best-selling compact.
With 2 minutes remaining, it's a 4th and 12 situation, so the Packers will be in position to punt. Boyd Dowler going into the ballgame to do the punting. Dropping back now. Wells and Morrison to the deep men. Dowler gets it off. A long, high, spiraling kick, driving Morrison back. He lets it go and hits on the 5. And it is grounded by Herb Adderley, number 26. Adderley, number 26, grounds the ball. And it's going to be at the 9-yard line. You know, the Giant defensive unit is one of the proudest units in pro football. They had played 105 games as a unit coming in here. They, of course, were the unit in the 1956 game won by the Giants over the Bears. The Green Bay Packers this afternoon have devastated that defensive unit. The Giants now facing a shutout. Have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 9 on the Y.A. Tittle to run the T attack. He gives it to Gators on a halfback draw, and he goes across the 11-yard line. He picks up only 2. So it is 2nd down and 8 yards to go for the New York Giants. 1 minute, 22 seconds unofficially remaining. This place will be a madhouse the moment that gun sounds ending this ball game. These fans have waited 17 years for a winner. They have waited more than 40 years for a championship in Green Bay. This is the first time the championship game has ever been played here. They will make the most of it, believe you me. This is Y.A. Tittle throwing to Del Schaffner, sideline pattern, incomplete. Whittenden covering. 3rd and 8 at the 11 as the incomplete pass, of course, stops the clock. Green Bay in one of its proudest moments right here, of course, leading by a score of 37-0 in the championship game. Pete Hall has come in replacing Kyle Rote now for the New York Giants. This town, of course, is rich in football tradition. They have starred names like Don Hudson and Arnie Herber and Cal Hubbard and Steve Sisfeld and Tony Canadeo, but none greater than this unit they have on the field right now here this afternoon. All right, shotgun formation for the Giants. First time this afternoon, direct pass situation. And so Tittle gets it back to throw. And he overthrew Hall, and it is intercepted on the far side by Adderley. Herb Adderley, number 26 for Michigan State, is Jitterbuggy. Going to the outside, Adderley to the 20. Still going, and he gets to the 16-yard line. Herb Adderley intercepted. Mickey Walker made the tackle.
And ladies and game for weeks to come, the praise can only be heaped on the great Green Bay Packers, and nothing in the way of praise can be said for the performance by the New York Giants today, as these two teams are meeting for the 4th time in championship play. And coming into it, the City Fathers were right when they renamed the city Titletown, USA, and the players have just as much confidence as the City Fathers.
Titletown, USA it is. It's a happy day in Green Bay, and the Packers have the ball. 1st and 10 on the 16-yard line. They have Roach the quarterback. 25 seconds unofficially remain to be played in this ball game. Roach simply keeps it on the quarterback sneak. Just about the line of scrimmage slipped down, and now they can let the clock run out if they wish. Andy Robicelli made that last tackle. The clock is running out, and they're going to let it run out. They're not making any attempt to huddle. The crowd is started on the field. The players are started for the dressing room. The gun is counted. The ball game's over, and the Green Bay Packers have won the championship. Now watch the madhouse scene. The Giants trying to get to the tunnel to get to the dressing room. They had started before the gun. The Green Bay Packers trying to get into that tunnel, too. Strangely enough, the announcement was made that the goalpost would be protected. Fans were asked not to try to tear them down, and this is about the quietest goalpost situation I have ever seen at the conclusion of a championship game, Chris.
And ladies and gentlemen, Allie Sherman was the first one across the field to congratulate Vince Lombardi, who has a sweet victory today after losing a heartbreaker in Philadelphia last year for the championship. And Vince Lombardi has most certainly a tremendous record as head coach in the National Football League. All the way today, and the Green Bay Packers were not kidding. Touchdown scored by Kramer twice, Dowler, Horning's 3 field goals, and what domination of professional football.
All right, Chris, and that's the end of the game with the final score of the Green Bay Packers 37 and the New York Giants nothing.
It's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo, refreshingly different.
With Cameo, you get only the coolness of menthol. You taste only the natural flavor of fine, fully matured tobacco. Refreshing, like a snowy sleigh ride in the middle of July. Try a pack of Cameo soon. They're filter tipped, king size.
There's just a touch, a gentle touch, a cooling touch of menthol. Reawaken your taste with Cameo, refreshingly different.
The Green Bay Packers have won the championship of the National Football League by defeating the New York Giants 37-0. And to tell you something of how they did it, here is Chris Schenkel.
Okay, Lindsey Nelson, in a game that was played in less than 2.5 hours, which is most unusual, it was probably the longest afternoon for Giants football fans wherever they are, and of course, Giants football players. 37-0, the final score, with Paul Hornung accounting for 19 of the points, and of course that is fitting because he has been the National Football League leader the last 3 years, totaling in the regular season 146 points this year, with Dowler catching a 13-yard touchdown pass. Ron Kramer catching 2 from Bart Starr, 1 for 14 yards, another for 13 yards. Hornung's 3 field goals, 1 from 17 yards away, another from 22, and then the third from 19 yards. So in a short game, the Packers vanquished the New York Giants. They end 1961 in the best of fashion with a great 37-0 victory, the 4th shutout in the history of the National Football League championship game.
All right, Chris Schenkel, they're still working on that goalpost pretty well, trying to get it down. And despite the fact that the season is ended here in Green Bay, there is still plenty of football coming your way on NBC. For instance, tomorrow.
Well, Curly, we're back here in Toronto, and I think it looks to me like Green Bay kind of scalped the New York Giants.
Well, I think we ought to get a plane to Green Bay tonight to celebrate New Year's Eve.
That'd be the spot to be, wouldn't it?
Boy, I'll say it will. Be terrific.
Well, at any rate, the New York Giants, in spite of the fact that they did get trimmed 37-0, they did provide a lot of thrills over the National Football League season for us Canadian fans up here.
Well, they certainly did, and for Allie Sherman and the whole Giant crew, now they can put away their scouting reports and their playbooks and just take a look at these films and start planning for next year and see where they may have to rebuild.
I was going to say, I don't think they'll be able to quit work because it looks like a big rebuilding job is in store for the Giants.
Well, very definitely. They've done an exceptional job, and I think Allie Sherman, for his first year of head coach, should really get the pats on the back. There's no question about it. He deserved the Coach of the Year award because he took this club that last year lost 4 of its last 5 ball games and brought it along this season, and the results were fantastic. They knew their problems. They knew they lacked team speed offensively. They got Del Schaffner and Walton, and wells to help that situation, and gators, and maybe they'll get a lot of mileage out of these fellows in the next 2 years, but they're going to have a big job all the way in rebuilding.
Kind of unfortunate, too, but that's football. Most of the talk this afternoon has been about Bart Starr and Paul Hornung, who played outstanding football games, but there are a couple of fellows up there on the offensive line for the Green Bay Packers, like Jim Ringo and Fred Thurston.
Boy, you can't say enough about those fellows, and Gregg and Masters, that whole offensive line, and Kramer, the closed offensive end, not only is a fine receiver, but he's a great blocker, too. And when you have fellows like that doing a job out in front, boy, it makes it tough for the opposing team.
In all the games we've seen this year, Curly, I have never seen the Giants physically manhandle the way they were today.
We saw some flashes of it 6 weeks ago when we saw the Packers and the Giants meet earlier in that 20-17 contest, but not like they handled them today. It was phenomenal. This fellow Ringo, you know, is really not big as offensive centers go. He's just 6 feet and about 225, 30 pounds, but he has a tremendous thrust. When he snaps that ball back to the quarterback, is a terrific initial charge, and he's the key man in there. And along with Thurston and Gregg, and of course Kramer, the fine offensive guard that they lost a few weeks ago with a broken ankle, but they were able to move Masters out to tackle and bring Gregg into the other offensive guard. And those fellows really do a fine job of crisp blocking. If you'll notice a couple times, I said just look at that offensive line of Green Bay, and we saw their initial charge into the Giant defense, and you can just see that explosion. And it seems like there's a uncoil of about a yard of heads bopping and popping back when you see those fellows move out.
A man we haven't talked much about, too, is Vince Lombardi. He must be a wonderful man.
Well, he is. He's a very fine fundamentalist, and the thing that he tries to do, and he certainly did it today, is to beat the opponent at their strength. And if you'll notice, he worked against Robustelli and Greer and Mo Gillespie consistently in this ball game to beat the Giants at their strength and take a little oomph out of the powder keg.
Well, Curly, it's just about the end of the line now for the National Football League for this year. In fact, it is. And I certainly want to thank you for Curly. I might tell our listeners, works in New York and lives in Greenwich, Connecticut. And most weeks he flies up here. I say that because last week he got snowed in. But Curly, it's been a great pleasure working with you. I've really enjoyed it myself. I've learned a lot of football from you, and I know the fans out there have too.
Well, Hal, I want to tell you that it's really been my pleasure. I've really enjoyed every weekend that I've come to Toronto. I've made a lot of fine friends, and I want to thank you because it's been a pleasure working with you. You've made the job so easy for me in unfamiliar circumstances. I want to thank Ty Lindbergh, our producer, and all of the staff of CBS Sports Department for the wonderful cooperation they've given me. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to look forward to doing this a lot more. It's been too fast of a season, Hal.
We'll see you next year for sure. Same to you. I'll see you in Green Bay tonight.
Okay.
Friends, next week, the World of Sport returns to its regular time slot of Saturday afternoon. We'll have Cross-Canada Curling Series, and we'll see a Western semifinal. And now, that wraps up our football season for 1961. This is Hal Kelly, along with Curly Morrison, saying so long for now.
The second half of today's NFL Championship game was brought to you by Ford of Canada, on behalf of your Ford dealer who sells and services the 1962 Galaxy, Fairlane, and Falcon, and by refreshingly different Cameo cigarettes with just a touch of menthol. This is the CBC Television Network.